Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
This morning, I thought, after doing some research, we would do and present to you the Italian secret to a long marriage. Are you ready for this? At St. Peter's Catholic Church in Baltimore, Maryland, they have weekly husbands' marriage seminars. At the session last week, the priest asked Tony, who said he was approaching his 50th wedding anniversary, how to take a few minutes, please, and share some insight with the rest of the gentlemen in the room into how he had managed to stay married to the same woman for all those years. Tony replied to the assembled husbands, "Well, I tried to treat her nice, spend a lot of money on her, but best of all is I took her to Italy for the 25th anniversary." The priest replied, "Tony, you're an amazing inspiration to all the husbands here. Please tell us what you're planning for your wife on your 50th anniversary." And Tony proudly replied, "I'm gonna go and pick her up." We'll be back after Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Attaboy, Tony. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, yeah, all 7 great locations serving you. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. And later on this morning, we're going to be giving away our first Cow Pies and Coffee Cups prize, and it's a beautiful wall-hanging painting from Lee's Furniture. Don't miss that. Along with also our thanks to Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Start on the route service today. Call Kelly at 734-6969. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning, dear sir. How are you?
Well, not too shabby after a wonderful, wonderful birthday yesterday. Thank you much.
Oh, you are very welcome, and obviously you survived, and you're on to the busiest day of our week.
Yeah, Thursdays, that's a day that you don't want to blink because some herd of buffalo is going to run right over you.
And that is an understatement, and honestly, if I get distracted, Thursday is not the day to distract me because I've got to stay focused.
You know, the thing is, folks out there in Radio Land, we do this all, as you may or may not know, on a remote basis to the point where I'm 40 miles away from Gina. And we can't just look through the glass at the studio and say, or mouth words of do this or hold up a note. I mean, we're doing this off the cuff with only the telephone call preparation beforehand. So I think you're doing it... Go ahead.
Messages without any reply.
Yeah. Well, now, wait a minute. That wasn't fair. That wasn't nice. One of these days I might surprise you, but don't count on it. Okay. Do we have a pledger?
Actually, we have Michael Rogers on for the pledge and for the weather.
Very well done. Michael, if you would, please.
Morning, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Michael Rogers.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I thought you were all finished. I was just going to say it's time now to listen to you and your great, knowledgeable weather forecast, Michael Rogers, weather.com.
Well, good morning, everybody. As I sit here taking a beautiful photograph of a volcano known as Mount Hood from Interstate 90, make that Interstate 84, Junction 97 in Biggs, Oregon. Pretty nice up here, kind of cool. you got wet weather for today, and I'm going to break this down for you in plain English. If you stay at the bottom of the hill in Murtaugh, you'll see rain. If you want to zip up to Shoshone, you might run into some snow. 51 for the high today, a little cooler this evening. It's going to taper off. You're going to come out of it tomorrow, and you got yourself a nice, cool fall weekend in the Magic Valley of South Central Idaho. Other than that, I hate to leave you so quickly, but this is the only chance I get the beautiful sun up against a volcano that is least likely to blow, according to the smart folks at the U.S. Geological Survey. So, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you very much, MichaelRogersWeather.com. Hey, let's go sell some cattle right now, shall we?
All right, you get set of steer calves there. Here to get all 31, 1, 31, going out, 32.
That is the voice and the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, along with Lance Udy, and they welcome you to the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Today was sale time at 10:30, and they're located at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And the number to call the office, 678-9411. Here's just a part of the run that they're going to have today. Jed Heaton over at Stravel's bringing in 100 head of ripping good calves. And then Southridge Dairy over at Oakley. Hello, folks. 100 head of butcher cows. Kim and Chet Brackett are bringing in from Three Creek a semi-load of butcher cows. And Steve Parson over at Aberdeen. How are the folks up there? He's got a trailer load of 700-pound heifers coming into the sale. And Gloria Parker up at Richfield. Hello, Richfield. 30 head of calves coming down to the sale. Market for feeders is stronger, and you'll find yourself at a great sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard today at 10:30, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley with Merv May and Lance Udy. And now, Merv, sell those steers.
All right, you get set of steer calves there. Here to get all 31, 1, 31, going out, 32, 2, 3, 134, 4, 5, 135, 50, 135, selling $1.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
Amen to that. Hey, I want to say again, thank you to everybody yesterday, making my birthday. I'm not going to say how many, but if you took an ink pen and tried to mark them all off, you'd run out of ink. Thanks to everybody, all your calls, all your emails, all the folks that stopped over here, the gifts, the happy birthdays. One of the most unique gifts that I got yesterday, and I know he put a lot of thought into it and sat down and just pondered as to what to give me, was an ear of corn by Larry Hudig. I was deeply touched. I have no idea why. Happy birthday, and he hands me this ear of corn with the husk on it and everything. And how do you not show appreciation for a heartfelt birthday gift? Thank you, Larry. It was moving. And also, Goober made a delicious cake. Gina, are you right there by your microphone? It was one of my favorite cakes. Evidently, she must be on the phone right now.
No, I'm right here.
No, I was just going to say, I feel bad that you missed out on the cake because it didn't take long for all the people here to just literally
inhale it.
Yeah, it was gone. And it was a layer cake, a cream cheese layer cake, vanilla layer cake.
That sounds good.
Oh.
Make me one, please. At least make Zeb another one and then save me a piece.
I'll tell you what, it was absolutely dynamite, and I really appreciate it. I had a great birthday. Thank you much, everybody.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And oh, by the way, it's Farmers Appreciation Month. Hats off to farmers. You better believe it. And they got some good-looking caps in there this year. You can run in there and throw that dirty old cap on the floor, get a brand new one along with some popcorn and pop, and then get your order, and out you go back to the Spud Fields. They've got everything, the cords, cord ends, fuses, everything that needs power. They've got all the equipment. You better believe it. Ramsey Heating and Electric, over 57 years in business, serving you at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Call ahead. They'll have it waiting for you, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I wanted to touch on this story yesterday, and I want your input on this because I see a trend starting in this country and getting worse every day. What the trend is, unfortunately, is that you and I cannot protect ourselves and our family anymore. Now, think about the different stories that have been in the news, not only nationally, but right here locally in Magic Valley. If threatened in a very serious and very possibly life-threatening situation, if you or I use deadly force to protect ourselves or our family, and listen close to this because this is honestly how I feel, the perpetrator, or plural perpetrators, that you or I turn into a victim will get us in court and ruin us financially. Now, case in point, and this is brewing in New York City right now. This is brewing like a cheap coffee pot in New York City over what happened on Sunday. A family was in an SUV, and it doesn't make any difference if they were in a Volkswagen. I'm just mentioning what they were in. And they were surrounded by a motorcycle gang. Now, I want to make something emphatically clear before I go any further in this story. I know a lot of bikers. I know a lot of motorcycle club members, a lot of them. And I have the utmost respect for their clubs, I have the utmost respect for their bikes, and I have the utmost respect for them and what they do. But there are some that create a negativity. This is one of the some. This group in New York City had been causing problems all day long in New York. They had been shutting down intersections, basically scoffing at people that were up there waiting for the light to turn green, and then they just sat in the way and looked at them and said, "We ain't going to move." And even a reporter for Fox News was trying to take her daughter to a birthday party and had to sit through 3 lights. And when you sit through 3 lights in New York City, that's a long time. And they just wouldn't move. They were causing all kinds of problems, trying to shut down various streets so they could do their motorcycle stunts. Well, here comes this family in an SUV, and they literally surrounded the guy and tried to stop him from going down this one street, which he just kept right on going. Well, if you watch the video, and you watch and see what happened, these guys were so absolutely stupid. They went up in front of his car, and then they backed off and almost literally let him run over them on the motorcycles. And finally, he came to a stop. And I'm going to be paraphrasing a lot of this because you've seen the video probably. And they started beating on his car with their helmets and just destroying and trashing the car. And on the inside is his wife. And in the back seat, in a protective seat, is, of course, his 2-year-old daughter. Now, this man absolutely is fearing for his life. Can you imagine? You've got 30 bikers, and they're beating on the car, and they're absolutely cursing at you and trying to get at you. And the man does finally get dragged out of his car and is beaten. But that's at the end of the story. He takes off, and one of these absolute twits, very unfortunately, is run over and had both legs broken and spinal injuries and may be a paraplegic. Well, he runs down. Finally, the tires are flat, and they slash his tires. They get him out of the vehicle. They beat him. Finally, the police show up and stop this altercation. But here's the part that I want to get at, and I want you to call me on this. This man now is very possibly going to go into court, the driver of the SUV, and be sued by the victim's wife. Now, the victim being the guy that perpetrated this and started this, and he was run over because of his absolutely stupid actions. And now the real victim, the family, is turning into the perpetrator of the crime, and this guy that's the paraplegic, his wife is going to sue because he's going to be possibly in a wheelchair the rest of his life. This is stupid. This is completely off the wall. Just an absolute ridiculous action. I think anybody would run away when surrounded with a bunch of thugs that want to drag you out of a vehicle and literally beat you or kill you. You don't know. You put your foot on the gas and get out of there. But he did, unfortunately, run over one of the bikers. And now it's all coming back on him. And attorneys are jumping, literally standing in line, ready to take this case on and ruin this family's life. I want your thoughts on this, because I don't care if it's on your property. I don't care if you're driving down a street. I don't care where you are. If you go to protect yourself, be ready in this day and age to have the perpetrator turn into the victim, and you will lose everything. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Rain for Rent, 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, 438-5065. There you've got all the particulars with the Reinke Pivot sales and service. And they're having another drawing that's going to run all the way through October 21st for a great big 40-inch flat screen TV. And along with that, all the great Reinke rebates. And they've got the pros over there that can help you with all the Reinke Pivot sales and service. Frank Jensen, Skip Hilton, Brooks West, the whole crew, they know water and they know irrigation. Rain for Rent in Paul, 438-5065. Be sure and get a hold of them today. Also, Valley White Home and Ranch. I keep telling you about Valley White Home and Ranch, and I can give you a little sneak preview of something that's coming up. We are going to have an outstanding, amazing, absolutely beautiful Christmas on the air at Valley White Home and Ranch, and we'll be telling you more about that later. But get in there and check out all the great buys on all the warm clothing, all the boots. And for the fall fishermen, look no further. They've got all the fishing equipment in a brand new fishing section right there at Valley White Home and Ranch. All your livestock feed and a great tack department for your horses, too. Steve and the rest of the crew say if they haven't got it, they'll get it for you at Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Well, they're lucky it wasn't me. I'll put it that way. Because I'll tell you one thing, if I got a feeling that I'm going to go to jail, I'm going to make it worth my while, and it won't be only one person.
I agree with you, and I've given this a lot of thought and a lot of soul-searching, and I know that the nitwits that control some of the liberal blogs around the state of Idaho that like to go after me and just say all kinds of evil things, which is fine, they're going to come after me on this, but I will guarantee you that if 2 or 3 or 1 or 10 or whatever of these people that are trying to do harm to me, my vehicle, or possibly my family, I don't care. Their life at that juncture means nothing to me, and I would run over them in a heartbeat. And that's why I think the criticism of this man and the possible court retaliation against this man, the driver, is absolutely insane.
I agree. I think they ought to just throw it out right now. Like I said, I'm at the point in my life right now, you're going to do something against me, my family, especially my family, my kids, grandkids, whatever, I will do whatever it takes. And like I said, I wouldn't have stopped. Once I got that thing going, I wouldn't have stopped. They wouldn't have stopped me.
Yeah.
Until the police showed up, they wouldn't have stopped me. I don't care how many of them I took out. I would take them out. If it's forward, backwards, sideways, I don't care.
And there is the liberal slant on this thing that he used a great big SUV to run over a little bitty motorcycler. And this is asinine. There were 30 of them. Have you seen the videotape, in fairness?
No, I haven't.
You need to look at it. You can check it out. It's on all the news, and believe me, you can go on the web and you can find it. And if I were in that SUV, I've thought about this a lot, and Deanna and I've talked about it a lot. The way that they encircled the SUV, the way that they were taking their helmets off and smashing the glass with this little 2-year-old and the man's wife inside, and they finally took him out of the SUV and beat him to the point where he had black eyes and broken nose, and he was just pulverized over nothing more than driving down a street that these punks, these thugs, these vermin, wanted to close off without any closure granted to them so they could do some stunt motorcycle riding. This is insane.
Oh, that's just it, and there's no reason for them to be doing it in the middle of the road. There's other places, big empty parking lots, stuff like that. They can do it all they want, okay? But, you got to be able to make a stand, and you've got to come up with a thought. You got to think about it and stuff like that. In a situation like that, I've always had the thought with me that in that situation, yeah, you may call the cops on me, but guess what? You better call an ambulance too, because one of us may be going to jail, but the other one's going to prison.
I will say this, Kilt Man, and I know you'll agree with me, but you know, you've got to draw a fine line in the sand, and you've got to do it at a drop of a hat. You've got to make a decision right at a split-second notice. Are you going to be protecting your family and yourself, or are you going to be the victim that could have been beaten to death and have something happen to your wife or something happen to your child, and you've got to make a split-second decision. But to have this mentality after it's all over of the wife of this perpetrator of the crime on the motorcycle come out and cry to the millions on the news saying, my husband's going to be a paraplegic and we're going to go after those people and sue. This man was a criminal that caused and instigated the incident.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Like I said, one situation with just me may have been different. With my wife and my kids in there, that's a whole different story. You try to threaten them, you better be willing to die or at least go to a hospital, because it's going to happen.
Amen.
It's the same thing once I got in there.
Amen.
That's just flat out right off the bat.
I totally agree with your thinking on this, and I know there's bleeding heart liberals out there that are just absolutely offended by that. I don't care. We've got to draw a line in the sand, Kilt Man, to where we have to be able to protect ourselves without the fear of losing everything in a court case.
Well, the biggest problem is now is a criminal becomes a victim all the time.
Yep.
They're not treated like criminals.
That's
They've
right.
got more rights than you and I do. Once a situation happens, they are protected one way or another all the way around, and we're always the criminal.
That's right.
On a situation like that or other situations.
When you take action against someone that is absolutely a perpetrator, thinking you're going to be a piece of cream cheese and lay down and hand them your wallet or do whatever and let them beat you, stomp you, and then take your goods and services and your checkbook and your car or whatever, and somebody fights back, you are 100% right. There are these crazy lawyers out there and the court system that just absolutely seem to welcome where the victim is now going to sue the person that was trying to protect himself. And this world is crazy.
Oh, it's right. I mean, until the court and the system start treating them like criminals, we're not going to get out of it.
I agree. Hey, I got to run, buddy. Thanks so much for your call. I want to hear others comment on this, because you and you and you and me and everybody, this could happen in Burley, Idaho, Paul, Twin Falls, Jerome, anywhere. This could happen. Are you ready to have to sacrifice your time, your financial standing, possibly even all your property, to protect yourself after these vermin have started an incident with you, you fight back, and they are on the ground, but then all of a sudden, even though they were the perpetrator of the crime, they are now suing you for damages. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to Travel Lube Supply. And do we have Jim on the phone?
Nope, I'm dialing now.
Dialing now. Well, I tell you what, you go ahead and dial. I'll do another quick commercial while I'm waiting. Callers, stand by. We'll be right with you. Do not forget Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Auto Body Shop. Oh, I got to brag about these guys. They strive to make your vehicle repairs undetectable because they are so good. Give them a call today and tell them Zeb sent you, because I had a lot of work done there on my pickup after that fire. They did a phenomenal job. I really stand behind them. 736-2490, 736-2490, Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop at 1243 Blue Lakes Boulevard North in Twin Falls. And believe me, if I send you in there, you know they got to be good, because I'm real particular about what's done to my vehicles and anything I own. They are the best. Well over 50 years of accumulated collision experience, they know. At Middlecoff Ford Lincoln Body Shop in Twin, 736-2490. I'm getting a text. Happy birthday. Bill Jensen just sent me a text belatedly. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. God bless you.
Nice.
That was very nice. And right now, a very nice man on the phone with, of course, our friends at Travel Lube Supply. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Deb.
How are you, my friend?
Well, other than a little cold, we're doing fine.
Well, what's happening at Travel Lube Supply right now at 1050 West, 203 South in Hayburn?
Well, we just
put in an order for some more Bubba ropes. We got some coming in.
Okay.
They've got a new one out. And if you've got a girlfriend or a wife, four-wheel drive, she needs a rope in her vehicle. They have a limited edition pink Bubba rope.
You got pink Bubba ropes?
They're coming.
Oh.
There's some in.
Now, here's what you got to do. When you get your pink Bubba ropes, you've got to come over here to my office, and I'll make a deal with you for one for Deanne. She's got to have her own pink Bubba rope.
You betcha. She'll look good with it.
Okay, as long as
she never has to use it.
As long as she doesn't have it around my neck.
Hey, we make no guarantees that way.
Okay.
You're on your own, buddy.
Well, now listen, along with Bubba ropes, what else have you got right now?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but the weather changed a little bit today.
Yes, sir.
Better get the antifreeze checked. We've got antifreeze, RV antifreeze. You get your good time to get your sprayers winterized. RV antifreeze is a good way to do that. Put some of that through your systems and keep them from busting over winter.
All right, well, all of this and more with our dear friend standing there out in the middle of the field right now with his pink Bubba rope, and that's Jim McCall at Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West, 203 South in Hayburn, 438-8730. You call me when you get those pink Bubba ropes, okay?
I'll let you know.
All right, buddy, thanks much. God bless. Have a great day.
We'll see you.
Thank you. Jim McCall, Travel Lube Supply. Holy bucket, Zeb, look at the clock. You're running late. Yes, I am. Pacific Steel and Recycling brings you now the Capital Press Ag Minute. We'll be back and tell you more about them in just a minute. Here we go.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
While Congress remains in a funding gridlock on Capitol Hill Wednesday, some federal services essential to U.S. farmers and ranchers were unavailable. In the short term, there is frustration and inconvenience for many in agriculture, but it's not yet interfering with their business plans or costing money, according to Dale Moore, Director of Public Policy of American Farm Bureau Federation. But if it continues even into next week, the shutdown could have significant impacts on agriculture. An array of programs and services under USDA and the Department of the Interior impact agricultural producers, from data collection and food inspection to conservation and grazing programs. Due to a lack of funding, USDA has furloughed 69% of its 97,902 employees.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget Pacific Steel and Recycling at 320 West Main in Burley, and they pay top dollar for scrap iron, tin, aluminum cans, computers, batteries, cars, and so much more. And don't forget Pacific Steel and Recycling, 100% employee-owned for over 25 years. And National Recycling Day is going to be November 15th. We'll tell you more. Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Be right with you, caller. Stand by. Later on this morning at approximately 5 minutes to 11, we're going to have the drawing for our first gift for the Cow Pies and Coffee Cups blog, my newsletter, and we're going to have the drawing on the air, so stay tuned in. This morning, the winner will receive a beautiful, almost $400 wall painting, a beautiful painting from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, so stay tuned for that. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Dad. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Go ahead quickly.
I got in the car and turned the radio on. I heard you talking about those. I assume it's the SUV driver and the motorcycle rider.
Yes.
From what I understood, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I need clarification, the person in the SUV is the one who caused the collision with the motorcycle rider.
I can't hear you. Go ahead. Wait a minute. You're causing. You're breaking up, and I can hardly hear you. Say that again.
I said, if I understand right, the person in the car is the one who hit the motorcycle riders. Am I correct to begin with?
Well, no, you're not correct. What happened was they had tried to block this man off driving the SUV from going down a street. They had encircled his car, and they had literally pulled him over to the side of the road because they, the motorcycle gang, they were trying to close down certain streets in New York all that day. They had completely caused a lot of problems and heartache and and caused other traffic stoppages, etc. And they were trying to stop him, and they got him over the side of the road, and they started beating on the vehicle and breaking the windows and everything. And he just thought the only way to get away from this is to run, and he run ahead, and unfortunately did run over a cyclist at that point. So there was a lot of perpetration before he ran over anybody. Make sure you make that point clear.
Well, like I said, that's why I called to ask, because yesterday I heard about it, I was in and out of the truck, and today I just didn't understand. But thank you for the clarification. I do appreciate it.
No, the thing is, this family had done nothing wrong, Riley, and to be thrown into a situation like this, I honestly think that fear has to take over. And you guys out in the audience that think, well, I'll be John Wayne, I'll show those guys. No, you won't. You're not going to get out of a vehicle with 30 guys that are trying to hit you with helmets and beat you and everything else. You're going to get out of there if you can. Even though you didn't do anything wrong, you're going to try to get out of there. And that's exactly what he did. Unfortunately, one of the bikers was run over. And I feel no milk of human compassion for that person that was hurt at all, because they were the perpetrators of this crime.
Well, I agree with you. They shouldn't have been in the way. They shouldn't have tried to stop him.
Absolutely.
And the other part about it is, everybody knows that when there's fight, there's flight. There's too many of them to fight, so it's time to run. Get out of the road.
Absolutely. Appreciate your call, man. I appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet. The question boils down to, what would you have done? Now, this story has been all over the news. It's been covered by almost all the broadcast units, and I'm really afraid for this family. I'm really afraid as to what's going to happen to them through a court system and through a attorney system that absolutely is filled with ambulance chasers that are looking for any and all excuses to go after this family and turn them into the perpetrators of this crime. What would you have done? I know what I would have done, exactly what this man did. I would have done exactly what that man did. You've got people that are absolutely trying to jerk you out of a vehicle and beat you, possibly, very possibly kill you. It was an angry mob. You're going to take flight. And I really, with a 2-year-old daughter in the back seat and your wife, their safety, theirs being the biker's safety, meant nothing to me, and I'm certainly at that juncture it meant nothing to him. He was trying to protect his family. And I will say something I heard the other day, and I mean this. You can't carry a weapon, a concealed weapon, in New York City, to my knowledge. They do not have a concealed weapons permit available in New York City, thanks to Bloomberg. But at that juncture, if that man had a concealed weapon and a permit, it would have been a change in the situation to all of a sudden, as these bikers are trying to thump and thud their way into the vehicle to drag him out, to just point that gun right in the face of the perpetrators. And I think the situation would have all of a sudden created a huge laundry bill for the bikers that were trying to get him out of the car. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What would you have done? I don't think any of us would have just said, well, I'll be John Wayne, I'll step out of the car and I'll show them a thing or three. No, you wouldn't. Hey, don't forget the cold weather's coming on, and don't forget you've got lawn sprinklers. Get them blown out before they freeze up and really do some damage. You better call Scott Gano. Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 150 South, 950 West of Paul, 431-8733. And if you're thinking about putting in a new sprinkler system or revamping the old one, I'll guarantee you he can handle the job. He did a wonderful job for us on my arena with my sprinklers. I love it. You will too. 431-8733. Scott Gano Landscaping. He's going to love that. Scott Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 150 South, 950 West of Paul, 431-8733. I want to hear what you do. Come on, give me a call. I want to hear what you have to say. Don't forget Four Paws Bed and Bath for the dogs and kitty cats. 370 West, 200 South. Rupert, 438-4444. Easy number to remember. And on Thursdays, it's This and That Thursday, when collars, leashes, bowls, beds, and all miscellaneous items are 50 to 25% off. Oh, you better get over there and make your dog and kitty cat more comfortable. And don't forget the great big Halloween party they're going to have on Saturday, October 26th. All kinds of goodies. And also they offer free bath and grooming for any animal adopted at a local animal shelter during the month of October and November. And you got to have your vaccination records and proof of adoption. But this is a great place. Four Paws Bed and Bath over in Rupert. Also in the news this morning, the vets, God bless them. The veterans that were going back to the World War II memorial, they ran over the barricades again yesterday, and I mean that, God bless them. It is a blessing, and it's a tribute to them that they are going to run over these asinine, stupid laws that Obama has put down as edicts because of the government shutdown. Good for them. It is past time to revolt against stupidity. And that's exactly what's happening with the vets, and I say I salute you again for your service to this country. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, stupid is, stupid does. And when you do a stupid thing, you got to accept the consequences. So that biker that got ran over, well, he did a stupid thing, and he got his consequences. But you know, you say that if the guy in the SUV would have had a firearm, I'll bet you half of those bikers had firearms on them.
I don't know, but I will say this, and I want your response, and caller number 2, don't hang up. When you're put in a life-threatening situation like that, you know, I do not blame the driver of the car whatsoever to get out of there and get away with his family. How can you dare criticize the man for flight in that situation?
Right. Yeah, he did what he had to do, and I'd do the same thing.
Well, I appreciate...
Like I say, stupid is, stupid does.
You have got that correct. Thank you, sir, for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's a split moment decision. I mean, or just a fraction of a second. You make that decision. You hope it's the right one. You know, and I don't know exactly what went on. You might have some more insight to it, Zeb, but what exactly went on before he ran over that bike. I've watched the video, and he's surrounded by those guys. If they're beating on that vehicle and, you know, hitting the windshield or something with their helmets, yeah, I got a 2-year-old daughter in the back seat of my wife. I'm getting the heck out of there.
Well, the whole thing boils down to that this same gang, and that's what they are, a gang of punks and thugs. They had caused trouble in New York earlier in the day. They had tried to close down various roads and intersections so they could do their motorcycle stunts, and the cops never showed up. The police didn't do anything to them. And as I stated earlier, even a Fox News reporter had been caught in one of their roadblocks, if you will, earlier in the day. And these kind of punks, I have no feelings of remorse for this man being injured whatsoever. He could have killed that man in the SUV.
Yeah. Well, on the side of the bikers, you know, if they weren't in the wrong, let's say, they were in the wrong by chasing him at high rates of speed in a place where there's lots of people, you know, and then dragging him out of his vehicle and beating him.
Yep.
That's not legal. You can't do that, even if somebody, you know, is in the wrong.
Well,
you go and you detain him maybe, but you don't chase him at high rates of speed. You get his license plate number, you turn him into the cops.
Well, the whole thing boils down to, in a moment of fear, this man did what he thought he had to do to protect his family as they were bashing the windows and trying to get at him because they were punks and thugs that wanted to close down that roadway. And he did what I would have done. I would have got out of there as fast as possible. Now, because one of the perpetrators got tangled with the bumper and run over, now the perpetrator turns into a victim, and the wife and the attorneys are going to run after this family. They have, and they possibly will, ruin this family's life, and they did nothing wrong.
Right.
I think you're right. I think the lawyers are going to go after him. I think they're going to try and sue him or something like that. But the guy in the SUV, if I'm in that SUV, I'm getting out of there.
You bet.
And then the next thing I'm doing is I'm looking for a cop.
You better believe it.
I'm looking for a police station. Maybe I live there, maybe I don't. If I know where the nearest police station is, I'm headed there.
Well,
because I just ran a guy over trying to save my wife and my kids. So now I gotta get to the cops for safety.
Well,
I don't know if he had that in his mind, but
it boils down to one simple thing. If you, your wife, and your child are in physical harm of possibly being beaten and killed, their lives, the perpetrator's lives, mean nothing to me. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh, absolutely. My first priority is getting my child and my wife's safety. They can do whatever they want to me as long as they're safe, but that's the first thought in my mind is getting them the heck out of there. And then safety is at a police station, or you find a police car or something like that. You go and you find a cop.
Absolutely.
Somebody that does have a gun in New York. Those are the only people that are allowed to have them in New York.
Absolutely.
Criminal.
I got to run and do a commercial break. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Caller number 2, I'll be right with you. Give me 60 seconds. I'll be right there. Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls with Reese Widmeyer. Sportsman's Warehouse, my store. It's the great indoors for those who love the great outdoors. They've got everything in there for hunting, fishing, archery, camping, boating, ATVs, everything. Everything. Seriously. The best products and the best people. Top quality gear, down-home attitude. You're going to love Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Let me break it down for you in plain English. I know you're going to understand this, okay? It's going to be wet today. So the bottom line is, you stay at the bottom of the hill in Murtaugh, you're going to see rain. You zip up 93 to Shoshone, and might see some snow. Otherwise, it's going to be a wet day today. Taper off tonight. Have a sunny day tomorrow. Look for a high today right around 51 degrees. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weather. Tell me whether you got it.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. Caller, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm outraged about that, but I'm more outraged at what that illustrious leader from Nevada said yesterday on the TV. Did you hear it?
Yeah, you're switching subjects on me here, Al, but go ahead quickly.
Well, I mean, that deal with motorcycles, that guy that got hit, that was his damn fault. I watched it, and he stopped right in front of that guy. But this Harry Reid, Nevada, I hope you're proud of that hypocrite. Anytime he says on national television, he hasn't got time for a kid suffering with cancer.
Yeah.
Boy.
I have had no use for this, I think, theatrical, soft-spoken leader of the Senate. I don't like him. I've never liked him. I've been in situations where I know that he's been in the audience, and he knows I don't like Democrats and I don't like their platform. Harry Reid made the symbol of the Democrats come to real life yesterday. The jackass spoke.
Yep. But anyway, back onto that motorcycles guy. Where in the hell is the cops or something like that? Ain't they supposed to have laws against unlawful assembly?
Well,
and obstructing traffic and stuff?
You've heard, and nobody follows the news more than you do. I know that, and I respect you for it. But you know as well as I do, when you followed this story, they, the motorcycle group and gang and punks, had caused problems all through the day at various intersections and highways and streets in and around New York City. So this was just a culmination of all the stuff they tried to pull that day.
That's what I said. Thanks, Mr. Bloomberg. You sure got one hell of a police force.
I don't think so. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You bet, buddy. Thanks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm not going to go back into the entirety of the story, but we've had some situations here at my place to where you have to make a decision in a big hurry. Split-second decision as to how you're going to protect yourself and your property. And as I said earlier, it's always the hindsight and the second guessers from the top row or the bleachers. They will come out and they'll criticize you later. Well, there might not be a later for you if you don't make that split-second decision in your favor and in your family's favor. This man driving I almost tipped the microphone over, pardon me. This man driving the SUV had to make a decision in a split second. He knew the danger was there. He saw them trying to break into the vehicle and try to get him out of there. And he sped away. And again, I've reiterated the point many times. He ran over one of the bikers, broke both legs and spinal injuries, and this biker might be a paraplegic for the rest of his life. The biker caused the problem, and I have no sympathy, none, for the net result. You have to basically play the chips that are given you. And if you play the hand wrong, you deserve what you get. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is another story, but I got to tell you this. Obamacare is now open for bribery. Obamacare is now open for bribery in the state of Tennessee and possibly in other states. I don't know if you heard this or not, but the state of Tennessee received a federal loan. Hear me now. This is our money. They received a federal loan to go out and buy smartphones. And you're saying, well, holy cow, Zebber, what did they use the money for to buy smartphones? What did they need the smartphones for? So they could give the smartphones to people to sign up for Obamacare. Bribery. Nothing more than bribery. Hey, we are going to give you a smartphone if you sign up for Obamacare. Oh, come on. Your tax money and my money going to the state of Tennessee on a federal loan so they can go buy a bunch of smartphones and give nitwits that don't know Camille from Sikkim an opportunity to get a free phone if they sign up for Obamacare. This is how idiotic and chaotic this administration is. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, don't forget the great big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes, they got the light truck and SUV Wildcat AT2 on sale. They've got the Terramax tire on sale. They've got the passenger car Ultra Z900 on sale. Oh, yeah, you're going to find the tires you need for safe driving right there at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All the custom wheels on sale, and they got the best of brake service and the best of shocks and struts and batteries and front end alignments. What are you waiting for? 7 locations. Pick the one nearest you. Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike in Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy the old Seahawk fan on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. By the way, before you run out of things to worry about, 93% of the people that work for the EPA, 93%. Basically, 9 out of 10 people that work for the Environmental Protection Agency, they don't need. What? That's true. They don't need them. They are leeches on the system. Oh, but you're saying, I'm sure they must have some kind of a job. Well, yeah, they do. And it's now been found that many of these underlings that have the IQ of a bicycle spoke are helping to promote free climate change classes. Oh, boy, what a worthwhile occupation. And also teaching classes on how to go around Congress and the Constitution and get your way. Oh, isn't that wonderful? That just makes me feel warm and fuzzy all over. 93% of the worthless jobs at the EPA are non-essential. And we're paying for that. We're paying for that. 93%. Oh, I'm telling you, folks, there's a never-ending supply of things that we need to change in this country. I listened to the news last night. I heard all about, on the various networks, Today Show, NBC, ABC, CBS. Damn those Republicans. Oh, they're causing havoc. No, they're not. They're standing up and fighting back against the idiocy, the incompetency, and the absolute degradation of our country by Barack Hussein Obama. By Barack Hussein Obama. That is who is the main problem. Oh, I'm sure the NSA down in Utah at Bluffdale's got their tape recorders just whirling away, recording everything I'm saying. I'm sure they do. And make sure you don't miss a minute of it. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, and I am upset this morning. I was upset last night. We was watching Hannity, and he showed the pictures of the representatives siding with the Democrats. You know whose wonderful, beautiful face was there?
I saw it, and I'm going to emphasize that. One was Congressman Mike Simpson from Idaho, one of the congressmen that might waffle on crossing over to the Democratic side and voting on their side for the shutdown of the shutdown.
Why doesn't he just admit he's a jackass and go on with it?
Well, Helen, those are your words, and I won't make that reference because I try to stay a little bit above the fray, but in Mike's case, maybe I might weaken. I'm not exactly a big fan of Mike Simpson.
I am. I'd like to wring his worthlessness.
I could tell that there was a little ire there, my dear. And if I were your husband, I'd keep watching over his shoulder all day.
I don't think he's in very much danger today.
Okay.
But
all right, Ellen, God bless you. I appreciate it. Thanks. No, I saw that last night. Congressman Mike Simpson, one of the congressmen on the Republican side of the aisle that might jump ship and cross over to the Democratic side in solving supposedly the shutdown. I'm not going to change. I think that it's time to stand up for the constituents. It's time to stand up for what your beliefs are and not worry about re-election. But, of course, once you're on the Potomac, you just take care of yourself. I'll be back in 6 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And a little bit later on this morning, we're going to be giving away our first prize for the Cow Pies and Coffee Cups, my newsletter. We're celebrating our 100th edition, and we're going to be giving away from Lee's Furniture a beautiful, beautiful painting worth almost $400. So don't forget, we're going to have the drawing coming up at about 5 minutes to 11 this morning. I'd also like to remind you, too, about our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary. Yes, sirree, Joel Heward and the rest of the staff. Joel, of course, the owner-manager at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to remember and call, 436-5636, 436-5636. Their staff is always committed to upholding the highest of ethical standards with unquestioned integrity, and they pledge to serve you as you want to be served. They really care. Please call them today. And we all should get the pre-planning information on funerals to help alleviate the stress and the worry for our family. Hanson Mortuary, again in Rupert, 436-5636. Well, with that being said, also, and I want to remind you real too about our friends Cameron and Siemens Insurance over in Rupert. Really good people. Now, along with being really good people, they're very knowledgeable people. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, when it comes to life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, your security for your home, your family, and your business. They can help you. They will help you. All you have to do is call them at 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Well, it's Thursday, and lo and behold, look who's on the telephone. You can see her smiling face. It's Kay Cameron at the Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning.
Hi there.
How are you on this beautiful fall day?
Well, I tell you what, it's that time of the year, and yes, I'm going to miss summer severely because I'm one of these guys that loves that 90-degree weather, but it is pretty, and it's going to have a chill and a tone to it, and the leaves are changing, and you can't find a prettier place to live than right here.
That is true. It's just a gorgeous day. Just remember, all of you out there, harvest season is in full swing, so just be a little extra cautious, slow down a little bit. We don't want to have any accidents.
Boy, you know, we just witnessed one here the other day, just literally up the road from my place a couple of miles, and it's tractors, it's trucks, it's machinery, it's harvest time, it's kids, it's school buses, it's everybody in a hurry to get someplace else. You hit the nail on the head. This is a real congested time.
Yeah, so just be safe.
All right. Now, along with that, this lady, Kay Cameron, no matter where you turn around, no matter where you're standing or what you're doing, she's always going to be there, and I really appreciate her efforts on behalf of the Chamber. You really are supportive of the Mini-Cassia area.
Well, you know, I'm a local gal, and I love this place, and I want to see it grow. I want to see opportunities continue to expand for our future and our youth, and it's just a great community, so it's really not that difficult.
So what's cooking over at the Chamber that you want to remind everybody about?
Well, there's, we're always busy, a lot of things going on, but there's just a lot of community activities still taking place. Get out and enjoy this beautiful fall weather. Get up to Castle Rock State Park this weekend. They're having a 5K fun run, trail run and walk. It should be a lot of fun. If you're, want to get out and get a little exercise in a gorgeous place, that is the place to do it. Mm-hmm. So get up there and enjoy it. Some other things going on this weekend, obviously, it's that time of year that the haunted mansions are active and haunted and spooky, and get up there and enjoy them, as well as the straw maze, and so just a lot of fun things for fall.
Absolutely. A lot of people, I'm sure, still are traveling through the area, and, I don't think the travel season's over yet for you, is it?
No, it's not. In fact, fall is a great time for people to be traveling. We see a lot of people. We've actually seen a lot of people coming through. The folks are headed south for the winter, so we've seen quite a few of those coming by. We see them usually every year heading south. It seems a little early, but they said they're cold and they're headed where it's warm. So that activity has picked up, but there's still a lot of people out and about getting around and checking out local attractions.
Absolutely. Now, what about down the road a little ways, looking through October into November? Anything long range you want to kind of alert people to put on their calendar?
Yes, we're very excited. On November 14th, we will have our annual Farmer Business Appreciation Banquet. And I hope to, before too long, have a big announcement about who our honorees are going to be this year. But at this time, I don't have an announcement to share with the public, but we hope to before too long.
Okay. And if they have information or they need information or whatever's going on in the Valley, you've got it all over there. How do they get a hold of you?
Give us a call at 208-679-4793. Stop by and see us. We're located on the beautiful Snake River at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn, Idaho. Or find us on the internet at minicashiachamber.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I don't know how you do that so smooth. That was excellent. Kay Cameron, Director of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. I'll look forward to next week. Enjoy a beautiful fall day. Thanks, Kay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
God bless. Thank you. Very nice lady right there. And I mean that. Every time I turn around, she's always there. Like last week at the lunch bunch, there she was coming by to say hello. I appreciate that. That shows a person is really caring about their job and about how they represent the area, and I really do thank her for that. We have been criticized a little bit by some that have called up or sent me emails and said, you need to take a little time to tell about the public service announcements that are going on in the Valley. Well, you know what? I'll take that criticism, and I'll take it to heart. And I'm going to go through some of those right now. We get so wrapped up with so many different things, so many different news items, that sometimes I do overshadow some of that about the public service announcements, so I will go ahead and tell you. Local volunteers are organizing a Mini-Cash effort to aid families in Colorado affected by the recent devastating floods, and donations are being collected for new socks and new underwear, and all kinds of clothing and personal care items, shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant, everything else like this. And I'm going to give you some numbers and the locations of collecting some of this at Burley, the CSI Burley campus, Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 9:30, and then Friday, 7:30 to 4:30. Hayburn, Magic Valley Chalet, Rupert, City of Rupert offices, and in Paul, the city offices of Paul, for anybody and everybody that would like to please help contribute. And thanks to Cindy McWilliams for giving us this information, and we'll keep plugging it on the program, okay, on Thursdays. Also, on the public service announcements, the annual Harvest Luncheon will be held at the Rupert United Methodist Church at 605 H Street in Rupert this coming Friday, tomorrow. That's going to be from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It's going to be featuring, oh boy, homemade chicken noodle soup. I love it. All kinds of salads and cookies and all goodies. And for further information, contact the office at 436-3354. And Adrian Harper's been telling us, and we've been plugging this on the air, and I think you should definitely be aware of this, that mark your calendars, October 17th at 7 p.m. at the Red Lion Canyon Springs Inn and Hotel at Twin Falls. J. Michael Ritz will be doing a presentation on a closer look at Obamacare. This gentleman is an Oklahoma State House of Representatives legislator, and it's going to be really important, so put that on your calendar at the Red Lion Canyon Springs Hotel, October 17th at 7 p.m., and he will also be earlier in the day on my program. So if you have any other public service announcements you want to talk about, just get a hold of me and we'll try to get them on the air. Oh, by the way, Gina Jameson, are you by your microphone?
No.
We have just a moment or two here where I would like to have you boast, as you sometimes do, about your University of Idaho Vandals. Who are they playing this weekend?
I'm a bad Vandal because I don't even know. Oh, honestly, yes, I do. They're playing the University of Washington, and my prediction is this. We're going to get our butts kicked.
You know, you said that with such a flair.
You know, the University of Washington is such a great team, and I'm torn on this game because I do have ties to the University of Washington. Of course, truly, I am a Vandal, so I'm hoping that the Vandals will win, but let's be realistic about it all.
Oh, you know what? Now, here's the deal. Boise State is playing at Utah State.
Ooh, okay.
And I've got to go to a wedding, and I'm trying to figure out how I can somehow smuggle in a small television, and before they say kiss the bride and all that stuff, I can follow the game. I really do want to follow this game.
I know you have a smartphone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But now, wait a minute. Therein lies the problem.
Okay, have your wife figure this out, and I'll send you some instructions on email on how you can actually get the game on your phone.
Okay.
Because, technology is kind of cool.
Is it rude? Let me ask you a question on etiquette.
Okay.
Is it rude if your favorite football team scores a touchdown and you're watching it on television at a wedding and you jump up and go, touchdown?
As long as you're not in the middle of the ceremony itself, it's A-okay.
Oh, it is okay.
Reception, cool. Prior to where everybody's gathering and it hasn't quite started yet, totally fine.
Okay.
During the actual ceremony itself, poor form.
So, in other words, what you're saying is we have to be real careful how we celebrate. So, if Boise State is scoring a touchdown and I, on crutches, sneak out and am in the lawn of where they're having the wedding and I do a touchdown dance on the lawn in front of everybody inside, that is not appropriate.
You could say that you were so happy for the bride and the groom that you just could not contain yourself and you had to get out there and do a happy dance.
You gotta be kidding me.
Hey, you know what? You lay it on as thick as possible.
I can do that.
You've got a phone call, and then, of course, Mort's here as well.
Yeah, but do you want a prediction?
Okay,
and I hate to say this.
The Boise-Utah game?
The Boise State, Utah State.
Okay.
I'm going to probably get a lot of nasty calls and really rancid emails. I think Utah State's going to beat Boise State.
You know, I'm kind of tossed. Utah's pretty good.
Yeah.
Boise's pretty good too. So I think it's going to be too close to call, and so I'm not even going to call it. I'm maybe by 3 points.
Okay. Well, we take the call and then we'll go to Mr. Mort. Thank you. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
How you doing this morning?
I'm not bad. What can I do for you?
Hey, just two things real quick. I only got a second. Number one, an FYI for you and Gina. I do believe the University of Idaho is playing Fresno State this weekend.
Oh.
Not Washington.
You know what? What difference does it make?
Well, the point spread maybe.
Okay.
But the other thing, just got a second here, but the other thing is, you know, when you were talking about the thing about in New York with the motorcycles.
Yes. Yes.
You know, what do we as the general public expect, because you're getting the same kind of behavior that those motorcycle guys have. We're getting the same kind of actions and everything else from the top people in our country for what they're doing to us. And so, I totally agree they ought to be totally hung and everything, but we ought to go and take we ought to take the head off the dragon.
You call in quite a bit, and I appreciate your comments. And I think, wouldn't you agree with me that here we have teachers, educators, and school leaders that are so afraid of a bullying tactic on school grounds, but yet your point is well taken. Our government is bullying us. Our laws are bullying us, the people that are not perpetrators of crime. We're family members that are worried about our safety and security, but yet we're being bullied to the point where we're being almost told to stand there and take it.
Well, yeah, and I agree. And I mean, well, you just look at you got your leader of our nation standing up and saying that if he had a son, he would want him to be like Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
So here you got a 220-pound, 17-year-old kid that got kicked out of school, was having trouble in school. People knew that he was into drugs and everything else. Now, if this is the kind of son that our leader of our nation wants, then heaven help all of us.
It says a lot for the complexion of the problem that was never brought up in the press, the ABC, CBSs, and NBCs.
So, but appreciate it. Love your program. God bless you, my friend, and you have a nice day and a nice weekend.
All right, thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right with you in just a moment. I think it's going to be Dog Nation, so stand by. Burley Glass, 1029 Overland in Burley with our friend Gentle Ben, and the atrium windows. They can increase the energy efficiency of your home by 2 to 3 times. Think of all the money that's going to save you. Holy cow, you don't want to heat the outdoors. Well, get these atrium windows right now. Call Gentle Ben at 678-1459. He's got a shirt on that says Gentle Ben right there on the lapel pocket. Can't miss it. Burley Glass, 1029 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-1459. Who let these dogs out?
Dogs out! Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
I tell you what, I know who left the gate open. It was that doggone Officer Mort. He left the gate open this time. What's going on, Officer Mort?
Hey, good morning, Zeb. We're wanting to feature this morning on that Rhodey. He is a bully breed, brindle in color, approximately 18 months old. He was actually hit by a car in Hayburn. We took him to the vet doctored him up, and he is very friendly, always happy. I mean, just fun-loving dog. And just gets along great with other dogs. Not sure how he does with cats, but that's another story. So.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Mort. That's a plus. If a dog doesn't like a cat, I think that's an asset.
Well, it all depends on where you live.
Okay.
In my house, Annette, we've got both dogs and cats, and rabbits, and Annette. So they all.
You've got rabbits in your house?
Yeah, my son has a pet rabbit.
A pet rabbit.
Do not do well with rabbits and chickens, I can tell you that right now.
When it gets real cold and you put your feet out of bed on that hardwood floor and slip on the marbles, is that pleasant?
Well, he's actually got his own little kennel inside the house that he lives in.
I see. A pet rabbit. What do you call the pet rabbit?
His name is Fluffy. He is a lop-eared real fuzzy-looking rabbit. His original name when we got him was Elvis. And my son and stuff and that guy, because he wanted him and stuff. He says, nope, he's not Elvis. He's he's Fluffy.
Now, I don't want to act in this disparaging manner here, but here you are, a big macho type, and you've got a rabbit named Fluffy.
Yeah, and him and I cuddle every evening.
Okay, it's your show.
You know, when you're an animal lover like me, and it doesn't matter how big or burly you look at, it's all about what's in the heart.
For some reason, I have a hard time grasping the picture in my mind of John Wayne sitting in a couch holding a rabbit named Fluffy. It wrecks the image of manhood.
Well, you never know. He might have.
Okay. By the way, what is a bully breed?
Basically, he is, he's like either a pit bull or a Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Woo!
And that they're, looks like he's a crossbreed between a couple of the bully breeds. So
like maybe a boxer.
Oh yeah.
And Staffordshire Terrier.
Kind of a Muhammad Ali type.
He's a big little boy, but he's beautiful.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, and he's really great with kids. I had to take my son to school yesterday. He had to run over so we can get a picture of him real quick.
Really?
My son got out of the vehicle and walked right up to him. I mean, he was just as gentle as all could be, and my son was able to pet him, and just he was great.
How bad were his injuries after he got hit by the car?
Actually, they weren't that bad. He actually didn't have any broken bones or anything. They had to drain some fluid off of his leg, and because he had some fluid and that get in there. But after that, he was fine.
Now, what did you say his name was?
Rhodey.
Rhodey.
Yeah, we named him Rhodey because he got hit on the road.
Well, you sure are original, Mort. Anyhow,
it's like I've got a Chihuahua over there right now that got last week when it was clipped by a car over on Oneida in Rupert, and we named him Clip.
You spend a lot of time thinking these names up. I want you to sit down on your chair tonight with Fluffy and think of some other ones. Now, what about it? I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are dog lovers, and I'm a dog lover. I love dogs. And you might have a dog that they're looking for. How do they get a hold of you?
All they got to do is call us at the facility, which is 438-2200, or they can reach me on my cell phone, which is 670-7268.
Okay. And do you have pictures of you and Fluffy that we could possibly post on my Facebook page? And that...
No, we don't have any pictures yet, but I can get you some.
Well, I'm thinking about
a picture of Rhodey on your Facebook page right now, and if anybody just goes and clicks on that link and goes to the Minidoka Joint Powers Animal Control Shelter, everything is posted up on their website, so it's posted up on yours.
Hey, Gina, get a picture of Mort holding Fluffy, and we'll try not to act in a disparaging manner. And,
do you have a picture of Fluffy up on your personal page, Mort?
Not yet. I'll get one.
Okay, you get one, and I'll post it up.
How big is Fluffy?
He's probably about a medium-sized rabbit.
And the rabbit is actually housebroken?
Yeah, he goes in his kennel, and he's got a litter box, the whole 9 yards.
Okay. Listen, more of Dog Nation next week with Ken Morton. Ken, by the way, I want to just make one other comment, and I know you're going to agree with me, and I'm not going to make light of this. There seems to be at this time of the year, more so than at other times, people that live in town are going out into the country, and they're trying to just dump their pets, their dogs or kitty cats off. Don't do that, folks. At least show some consideration for the people that live out in the country and have some humanity towards these animals.
Exactly. Abandonment is illegal. It is a misdemeanor in the state of Idaho. If you get caught abandoning your animal on that anywhere on that, you can be cited for it.
Okay. Dog Nation with my friend Ken Mort and Fluffy. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Who let those dogs out?
Dogs out! Who let the dogs out?
Oh, I tell you what, I've got a lot of respect for Ken. I give him a hard time, but I'm going to tell you something right now. He really puts his heart and soul into that business, and if you're looking for an animal, you'd like to give a home to a dog, please get a hold of him. Really, Really nice guy. Hey, don't forget Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh my, they're open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 9 to 6, and if you haven't winterized your watercraft, it's going to start going down, 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 temperature-wise. You don't want them to freeze up, so take them in there and get them all winterized. And they've got 2014 snowmobiles there. They've got the 2014 ATVs in stock. Great service, great sales staff. Everything's great at Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, 436-4771. Oh my, and we're just about ready to go to our next guest, but I want to also remind you, and I'm stalling right now because I can't find the exact papers that I'm looking for, but I'm going through the pile. I want to remind you about Perkins Restaurant and Bakery at 800 North Overland in Burley. And John and the rest of the crew, everybody over there at Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, we really say thank you, thank you, thank you. They've got a wonderful bakery department. Have you been in there and had one of their pies? How about a Neapolitan silk pie? 3 layers of delicious. Or raspberry and cream mammoth muffins. I'm telling you, folks, I'd walk naked in a hailstorm for those cream mammoth muffins. I got to say that again without slurring the F's. Cream mammoth muffins. There you go. And, oh, by the way, if you're a school and you're going to have a fundraiser, you better get your pies from Perkins. You know you're going to get the best in quality. You know you're going to get pies that everybody's going to go, $1,000! And that's a great idea. Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley. Really, really nice people. Well, I look forward to Thursdays, and the reason why is I get a chance to visit with a lady that is very outspoken, and I love it. I love the way she knows politics and studies it, and that's Rita Ramsey. Good morning, Rita.
Good morning. How are you doing today? Happy birthday late.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keith called and sang happy birthday to me on the telephone, or the microphone.
Good.
Yeah, I thought it was outstanding. And I had a wonderful birthday, and Deanne made a delicious cake, which was inhaled by all the people that showed up.
Oh, yummy.
So I guess the first thing I've got to ask you about this morning is, wow, did you ever anticipate that we would see such an absolute chasm, a divide, a Grand Canyon, if you will, right now with the news media, the Democratic Party, Obama, and the Republicans? What do you think about this big mess on the shutdown?
Well, I think that the Democrats are following along Saul Alinsky's rules because that's what their ultimate goal is to be in control. And the first 3 things on the list for Saul Alinsky rules are nudge, shove, and shoot, and they've been nudging us and nudging us. And this deal with the veterans thing, that has been a shove. And now, after yesterday, we went in there and shoved them out of the way and got the veterans their visits. Today, there's super, super high fences and armed guards, and they'll be darned if they're going to let anybody in there.
You know, Rita...
So now you got your shoot.
Yeah, you touched on something that I don't think a lot of people think could ever come to fruition in this country. But we're inches away from martial law and a complete takeover of this nation by this administration. Maybe you think that's too harsh, but that's the way I see it.
Well, I think it's possible, and we already had martial law in Boston when we had an emergency.
Yes.
So, everybody's kind of like, well, if they're going to keep us safe, we'll let everybody just tell us what we can do, and we'll hide in our houses and shiver and shake in fear.
Rita, when you look at the situations, and there's so much that we could talk about this morning. I'm a news junkie like you are, and I'm up all night and all morning early just researching different things. But you look at all the scandals that have literally, and they should have rocked this administration down to its core, but the news media, being in bed with Obama, it's all one-sided. But look at Benghazi and the IRS and all the different scandals, the First Amendment, the Fast and Furious, and just go on down the list of this absolute negativity for this administration. And now, a shutdown has absolutely thrown the cloud over the Republicans, and the Democrats are the shining light in the press and in the general public. This really worries me.
Well, it should, and the thing is, and I think it was on I think it was on Hannity last night. One of the guys said, they've sent more people out to the World War II memorial to guard it than they ever sent to Benghazi when we were under attack.
You know, a lot of people don't realize, and I had a couple of people call me this morning, and they were wrong in their thinking. They were wrong in their thinking. A lot of people said, well, the vets are just doing this to side with the Republicans. No. As a matter of fact, it should be noted and it should be known, and you know this to be true, Rita, that these veterans had planned these trips almost a year in advance to go to this memorial at a huge cost to them and some of their donors that were helping get them there. This is not something that just came up due to the shutdown.
No, it isn't, and they did plan this way ahead, and these groups that go in and organize these have them, I mean, those veterans, a lot of them are kind of like, I hope I'm still around when my turn comes, because they don't know how long it's going to be. Once they get them, you know, situated and scheduled and everything, they're months down the road. They have no idea this is going to happen. But the part that makes me really upset about this whole thing is that World War II memorial is open 24/7. It does not have fences. It does not need guards. It does not need anything. When we were there a couple of years ago, we were there after dark, and there's no way that you could fence it off and keep people from going into it other than just automatically taking over a bunch of barricades like they did, and roping it off with police line tape. And that's what they did. It wasn't like they just closed the door and said closed. They hauled barricades over there and set them up and run police tape around it so that nobody could get in, because it's totally open. It's on a great big park. You and I could walk into there anytime, day or night.
Absolutely.
And see it.
Now, this is what really bothers me. We see a Gestapo attitude here now being displayed by the Democrats, and especially, let's just go right to the top floor, Obama. And we're seeing the closures. We're seeing the you can't see America attitude. You can't see our past. You can't relish our history. And like these flights I was talking about, and I want to make this point clear to a couple callers that criticized me and said I was wrong. No, I'm not wrong. These honor flights, which bring World War II veterans to the nation's memorials, are planned a year in advance and can cost anywhere between $80,000 and $100,000. And why shouldn't the people of that great generation that saved our country, why shouldn't they be allowed to go anywhere, anytime they want to, and not have armed thugs or people on horseback or barricades standing in the way? I say rip them down and let them see what they want to see.
Well, there's no reason why they should where those barricades should be up. I can understand them saying, well, we're not going to have park people to clean up any trash or whatever, but, you know, you can still go in there. It's just like you or I walking down to the city park and saying, well, there's nobody here to mow the lawn today. Oh, well, that's fine. The kids can still play on the swings and so forth, but it's open. It's totally open, and they've made a concentrated effort to close it down as a sign of we're in charge and we're going to inflict pain wherever we can. But I think even more so is they're hoping that they can do that so that they can start some kind of altercations and opposition and get their troops in there. I really think that this is part of their plan.
Rita, you are a very strong supporter of the Tea Party, and I also am very cognizant and aware of what the Tea Party is and what it represents, and I stand for them. This is another nail in the coffin that the Democrats are using through Harry Reid and Obama to segregate the Republicans and the Tea Party and make them demons in the eyes of America and really, really start a divided wedge for 2014 to take over the House. That's all it is, and I'll stand behind that.
Well, that's exactly right, and this is my point. Do you think that we would even be relevant if we weren't making a difference? They wouldn't give us time of day, but when we keep getting referred to as the terrorists and the anarchists and all of those horrible people, you know darn good and well they're running scared in their boots, or they wouldn't be saying anything. It'd be like, oh, they're just like a fly, you know, you bug me, get away. Instead, it's kind of like, holy cow, it's the flies of 2013, and they're in here bugging all of us, and we're going to have to deal with them.
Now, we're looking at just a matter of days. From today, we're looking at exactly 14 days to the debt ceiling budget hearings and the settlement and or procurement of the money for the debt ceiling. Do you think this shutdown is going to run right into that? What's going to happen in your opinion? I want to hear what you think.
Well, I really think that they'll probably get it somewhat resolved so that they can deal with the debt ceiling. But my big fear is, what are they going to do with the debt ceiling? Because if they were really wise, they would go in and say, you know what, we're going to have to use some common sense here, and we're going to have to cut some money. It was just like that with the city. You know, when the city of Burley came up with that deal and they didn't have enough money to pay for the law enforcement, and the county said, no, we're not going to pay the difference. You're going to have to pay it. Well, the city all of a sudden said, well, we're just going to have to get our own, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, somehow they got it all resolved, and I imagine it was because they used some common sense. But I'll tell you something. I could go into a lot of these places and start cutting things and doing common sense things, and it wouldn't be painful. It would just be cutting out the fat and the waste and some of that. And some of these people who are ready to retire saying, you know what, when you retire, we're not going to replace you, and that will give us additional money in our budget. And somebody's going to have to step up to the plate and take over, or we'll go to another agency and we'll have a half here and a half there, and they can go back and forth. But, you know, people won't use common sense when they do it. It's like, okay, if we're going to have to go on a budget, we're going to cut it just where it's going to make people notice that we're causing pain, and they better just give in. It's just like when there's going to be a tax increase, they say, well, if we don't increase the taxes, then we aren't going to pick up garbage, and we're going to have to fire school teachers, and those kind of things that make the public hurt the worst. So then the public jumps on and goes, oh, yeah, you better give us a tax increase. We can't let that happen, and that's not true. Those things don't need to happen.
Now, let me ask you a question. I've done a little bit of research, and I want you to tear my numbers apart, if you will. According to statistics and records that I have conjured up, thanks to some of my dear friends like Dave Bego back in Indianapolis, one of the biggest businessmen in the country, we being the United States of America, we take in on an average monthly $225 billion with a B dollars. Now, our average monthly interest costs are $18 billion. So, by law, the president must pay the interest first before anything else. Now, my question is, if we're taking in $225 billion and our interest is $18 billion, we still have, X amount of dollars left for everything else on debt reduction. Why? Why are we wasting money and so upside down, throwing money down a toilet in the pursuance of trying to get wind and solar power, and it's losing money? We could really settle this deficit. We could take care of debt reduction, but we're wasting money. Why are we, the American public, putting up with this wastage?
Well, a lot of times we don't think that it is actually happening as bad as it is. But I'll give you two examples, and this one goes back to when I was just a little girl, and I'm pushing 60. My uncle was in the military. He was in the United States Army, and he was a sergeant. And I remember him telling my dad that when he was stationed in, I think it was in South Carolina, he had a superior officer who, when they were doing whatever the things they were building and stuff, he would say, well, this is an extra bunk of 2x4s. I need you to take it over to my place. And he was literally building a whole home with over-ordered, on purpose, I think, things. And so he was getting all of this at no expense to him, and yet he was providing all the materials through the government on just stuff that they had, oh my goodness, we have an extra bunk of 2x4s. Let's take it over there. And you know what? I'll bet you that he had numbers of bunks of 2x4s and sheetrock and stuff like that. My uncle said everybody in the military calls it, instead of Uncle Sam, it's Uncle Sugar, because things are so sweet and it's so easy to fleece them. The other thing is I was listening the other night on one of the late night radio shows, and Wayne Allen Root was the substitute, and he was telling of a person that he was acquainted with who was retired in his state now, but he was a toll taker in, I think he said it was New Jersey, for 20 years, and he retired at 55, but the last 2 years he took all of his sick leave and everything else, and then he took 2 or 3 other little jobs like Saturdays and after hours and stuff like that so that he could boost up his income. And he actually, as a toll taker for 20 years, retired with $120,000 a year retirement pension. And the state knows this. It's just that it's hard to track it. Well, you know what? The legislators haven't gone in and said, you know what, we need to make some changes. Because really, as far as I'm concerned, I would say that if this guy was a toll taker, they take his 20 years and add up how much he made every year and divide it by 20 and say that's how we're going to base your retirement pension.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're out of money and why it's so out of control. It's everywhere.
I'm not so convinced. You're going to probably chide me out for this, but I'm not so convinced we're out of money, to use your phrase.
Well, I don't know whether we're out of money or whether we're just wasting statistics.
There you go.
That we aren't paying for the things we need to
There you go.
For.
That's the point I want to make. After I read that about the interest and about what we're taking in on a per monthly basis and what we're wasting just giving away to idiotic and frivolity type things as wind and solar, and we're standing on the richest ground anywhere in the world with natural resources that could put us over the top for a future of great prosperity, and this administration's just too doggone dumb to do it.
Well, it is, and it's really sad. And then we have congressmen who aren't, who aren't firm in their beliefs and saying, you know what, I'm going to stand firm and tall, and I'm going to use wisdom, and I'm going to have fortitude, and I'm going to do what needs to be done to protect our freedoms. You saw those fellows last night, or the Congress people last night, that are being wishy-washy, saying, maybe we should just send through a clean resolution. Well, for some reason, Senator or Congressman Simpson shows up in Idaho with all the New Jersey and Virginia people that are getting wishy-washy.
Yeah, well, stop right there. Now, what did that make you think or feel like when you saw his picture pop up on the screen? Well, honestly, give us your feelings when they said, by the way, there's certain congressmen that might waffle and they might cross over the aisle to the Democratic side in solving the shutdown with the Dems. What were your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is this makes me madder than heck because he will be canceling out Congressman Labrador's vote.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is he hated to be called out by Brian Smith that he was not voting with the conservatives, and so he took out ads reaffirming the fact that he was a conservative voter, and he voted with the conservatives, and it was his interest in the conservative Idaho's best. No, somebody's gotten to him, and he's not thinking about Idaho because he would be right at the top of the list with Labrador and Senators Crapo and Risch in being the most conservative in the nation because our state is the most conservative in the nation.
I want to go to Obamacare for a few minutes, and I want to ask you something that if you have heard any news about this, I'm doing some research on it, and I'm going to talk to you about it in a minute, but I need to do a weather forecast, and we have our weather this hour brought to you by Red's Trading Post at 203 Fifth Avenue South in Twin Falls with Ryan Horsley and the whole crew. They've got all the guns, they've got all the ammos, they got all the holsters, and they've got all the reloading facilities and tools. They've got all the knives. They've got everything for you right there at Red's Trading Post in historic Old Town Twin Falls. Been there since 1936 with the family. Red's Trading Post, 203 Fifth Avenue South in Twin Falls. And now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Let me break it down for you in plain English. I know you're going to understand this, okay? It's going to be wet today. So the bottom line is, you stay at the bottom of the hill in Murtaugh, you're going to see rain. You zip up 93 to Shoshone, and you might see some snow. Otherwise, it's going to be a wet day today. Taper off tonight, have a sunny day tomorrow. Look for a high today right around 51 degrees. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weather. Tell me whether you got it.
There you go. Thank you, Michael, and brought to you this hour by Red's Trading Post, 203 Fifth Avenue South in Twin Falls. Thank you, Ryan Horsley. Rita, there are reports, and I'm holding one right here in my hand, as a matter of fact. This one is from a man by the name of Will Sheehan, and he attempted, now I'm going to give you a little overview on this, and I want you to respond. He attempted to sign up for Obamacare online, and was told, he claims, that a fine of over $4,000 a year for refusing to take out mandatory health insurance could be taken directly from his bank account, and that his driver's license would be suspended and a federal tax lien placed against his home, according to an entry on the healthcare.gov Facebook page. Now, what have you heard about this?
I didn't hear that one. However, it doesn't surprise me because they'll do anything they can to scare people into the fact that they have to sign up today. The first year, the penalties aren't very great, and then they increase thereafter. But just to show you a couple of things on how this is going is, I read an article this morning that says California now admits major Obamacare flub. We claimed we got 10 times more Obamacare site visits than we actually did. And otherwise, they're saying everybody's doing it. You got to sign up and getting people all blah, 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 blah. We got to do this and that and the other. Well, you know what? There's just a bunch of lies and stuff going around about it so that they can get people to think, oh, my heavens, the train's going to leave me if I don't get on there. And that's probably not the only state. That was California, but that's not the only state. But there's just all kinds of stuff going around making people think that, you know, if you don't do this, you're going to be in the dark. However, they need to deal with their laws, and their laws is that they've given anybody that they wanted to either a delay or you don't have to do it at all, except just the regular person. And they've got to have the regular people on there. It's not going to work. And so I would say, you know, just get the penalty instead of getting the insurance, because I wouldn't want to go on Obamacare and give them all of my personal information.
You mentioned something else about how things have been operated in a very shady manner, and last hour you should have been listening, or you will not receive your prize. You should have been listening to me when I had the story about Tennessee. The state of Tennessee, it has been found out, received a federal loan to go and buy smartphones and use them as a gratuity and a bribe to tell people that, hey, if you go sign up for Obamacare, we'll give you a free smartphone. Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear that, but it doesn't surprise me. The problem is they can get somebody to donate a bunch of smartphones, but you know how much it costs to hang on to them for every month so you got service?
Mm-hmm. The point is, I see nothing but kind of a backdoor, under the table, kind of a smoky cigar room filled with smoke, kind of a mafioso-style approach to getting Obamacare indoctrinated to the American public. Am I wrong?
No, it's absolutely true. And the other thing is that they are doing all kinds of stuff that just throw this in our face and everything else. I was on one website this morning. It's a news website, and there's a story that it says, guess what the Obamacare hotline number nearly spells? And when you look at it, you're going to go, holy cow, somebody did that on purpose.
Really? I had not heard that.
Yes, and we're available 24/7. It says call us 1-800-318-2596, and when you spell it out and you look at the words, it's like, oh my gosh, they're just throwing this in America's face, and I won't go any further on that. But if you don't believe me, just that 800-318-2596.
Well, needless to say, now that you've got everybody's interest piqued, I'm sure a lot of people are running to their phones and checking it out. Thank you so much. And by the way, another story I wanted you to comment on quickly. I've only got 2 minutes left. 93% of the employees that work for the EPA are non-essential. 93%, that's 9 out of 10, Rita.
Well, you know what? That makes me wonder, if they're not essential, we need to just get rid of them anyway, so they ought to be just totally furloughed. And then I heard somebody yesterday ask, I can't remember who it was, said, is President Obama's caddy a non-essential or an essential government employee?
now you bring up a touchy story, because I am so against this president that I nitpick just to get picky at him. I don't like Obama. Never have liked the man. I don't like his personality. I can't stand his wife and her arrogant personality. I don't like anything about him. But I will say that I think at times presidents need to get out of the office and get away from the absolute stifling news and reports that are thrown at him every minute of the day. But I think this president has absolutely used that as a crutch and uses it as a running away from the problems instead of being a problem solver.
He's just on an 8-year vacation funded by you and me, and that's all it is, because he's not doing anything except acting like the scornful father who's chewing out his teenagers. And, you know, you just get tired of it because he's not doing anything. He's not stepping up to the plate saying, you know what, I'm a leader. I want to sit down with both parties, and we need to come to an agreement that works for America. Instead, it's like just run up the debt and just keep on giving, and we're just going to eliminate whoever I think we should from these things being affecting them. And, you know, there's just favorites all the way. But I really still think that his objective is like, Saul Alinsky, and that's overwhelm the system, and then it will collapse, and then we'll be in charge of everything, including the world. My last thing I would like to say is everybody who has Internet capabilities needs to email Congressman Simpson, and please, and do it respectfully, ask him to not vote on the clean resolution, but to stand up with the Republicans for no Obamacare funding.
Amen.
You won't get through on the phones because they don't have enough people to answer it, and then the lines are all, the message boxes are all filled. But if you can get on and email him, he will know that we're paying attention, and we want him to stand up with the Republicans.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. I wish we had more time. I really do, because I wanted to talk to you. You brought it up just a moment ago about this absolutely cartoonish style of answering phones and getting messages. It's just ridiculous that the American public's voice is not being heard because they don't want to listen to it.
Nope, they don't.
Rita, listen, God bless you. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning, and I'll look forward to next week.
Okay, thank you, Zeb. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Rita Ramsey, and I really do appreciate that lovely lady on my program. Oh, yesterday was my birthday. And I know yesterday, right after the program was over, my wife had made a delicious, fantabulous layer cake that was just scrumptious. So I was not hungry yesterday. Today I am starving to death, and I know the answers for you and me and everybody else. How about Burgers, etc.? 2 locations, 700 North Overland in Burley and 124 South Oneida in Rupert. Oh, they've got burritos and corn dogs, 99 cents after 3 p.m. Stop by after school. You're going to have a wonderful snack. And on Sundays, they've got shrimp dinner special in Burley. Burgers, etc. Burley and Rupert, you stop in and see them today. Also, I'd like to mention about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, the Bandito burrito, the Mexican pizza, the macho burrito, the chimichangas, and don't forget to the grilled chicken bacon ranch quesadilla. Knock your socks off delicious. At 2301 Overland Avenue in Burley, you stop in and see them today. Hey, how about Steve-O's? 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. And, boy, I'm telling you, they got a great menu. Steaks and chicken and seafood and salads and all kinds of goodies. And, of course, fresh-cut Idaho French fries. They got a kids menu. They just absolutely say, come on over to Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Really good, folks. And last but not least, the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. They're now serving a kids meal for only $3.50. And they've also got the Farmer Brown burgers. Oh, and delicious milkshakes with all the different flavors. You're going to love it. Finger steaks, cheese sticks, everything. You're just going to have a ball over there at the AC Drive-In 601 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Quick call. We got a minute left. Go for it.
Hey, first off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I haven't been around for a while, Zeb. I just got home. I've been gone for over a month. But what Rita was talking about. Years ago, this was in the 50s, I worked for the Forest Service for about a month, and this guy that was my boss was also my best friend. And we went up to Jarbridge and dynamited some cliffs over the road and stuff. And he told me at that time, he was the foreman, ended up way up pretty high in the Forest Service. But he told me about this rancher up there at Jarbridge who was, it was actually his boss.
Real fast, Dwayne. We've only got 30 seconds. Real fast.
Okay. His boss, supervisor for the postal, or for the Forest Service, he built a fence, supposedly fencing the Forest Service off from this ranch. And he built a really expensive fence, clear around, to fence this ranch off. And then after he got it all done and everything, he retired, and lo and behold, he was a silent partner to the guy that owned the ranch.
Oh, my.
And he had one humdinger of a fence around.
Oh, my. A little bit of under the table. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, I would like to pursue that story more, but look at your watch. You can see I'm running late. I got to run to the news.
I understand.
God bless you, sir, and good to have you back. Thank you.
You bet.
We're going to take a break for the news right now from ABC. Let's see if they can be halfway honest and present the truth. That'll be interesting. And then we'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't you go away. Oh, thank you much. Welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday. Last hour. Don't forget our friends, our major sponsor, and of course, great folks to work with, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with our great friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And as I stated earlier, they are providing our first wonderful gift drawing for this morning, this first week of October, for our first drawing of the Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. Oh, it's a beautiful painting, valued at over $400, and we're going to have them on the air in just a minute. But first of all, don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley, and their dinner special for the seniors tonight is, for only $5.95, beef stroganoff with garlic toast and super salad. You're going to love it. You're going to love all the menu choices, especially that Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Oh, man, that is good. The Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Let's head on over to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, and we find at 459 Overland in Burley, Brentley is sitting right now in a very comfortable piece of furniture manufactured by Flex Steel Furniture.
Yes, Zeb, we sure are, and we are so enthused to have Flex Steel back on our floor. That's a line that we've carried for many years, and we have them back with great representation. And it's a line that everyone is familiar with in our area because it's just associated with quality. Great solid hardwood frames, wonderful cushion cores, beautiful fabrics, and then, of course, that Flex Steel unit. That's that support system under the seating area that gives you a lifetime warranty of support. And so we're just thrilled to have them back. And we've got sofas and love seats and a full line of our Flex Steel furniture with all of the associated fabrics. So if we don't have the fabric or the frame you're looking for, we'll put the right combination. So we want to welcome Flex Steel back and invite all of our customers to come in and see some wonderful quality furniture.
Absolutely. And then, like I have always been saying over the last couple of months, the Smart Strand carpet. I've got to tell you that is the beautiful, tough, rugged carpet, and I'm a first-hand testimonial on that after we had splits living large on a carpet for almost a month.
Oh, we appreciate that, and we have that sample right in our store. It's all cleaned up, and you just, it's hard to believe. But one of the things we enjoy every day is we rub our hands through that soft silk Smart Strand, and people are amazed that you can have a soft carpet that performs so well and is so stain resistant.
Absolutely. What else is cooking over there today at Lee's Furniture?
Well, right now we're in the beginning stage of our Simmons cover closeout, meaning we've got all of our Simmons mattresses. The factory has notified us they want to put new covers on. kind of freshen up the looks a little bit. So we're taking all of our existing floor models and our inventory and closing them out in a cover closeout sale. And just some teasers to begin with. We have twin mattresses starting for a good twin mattress at $79, a better one at $139, and one of our best at $199 for a twin mattress. But then we've also made a special purchase of a wonderful plush top set, probably one of the best sets on the floor for the money. Works wonderfully. Could be in the master bedroom. We sell a lot of these in the guest bedroom as well. That's a queen-size plush top that is half of its regular price at just $5.99. That's the complete set, both the mattress and the box spring.
Great buys on furniture and carpeting over there at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. I detect a little bit of a raspiness in your voice. I think you've been swimming with sharks in cold water.
Oh boy, this cool temperature that we got this morning. That's would take your breath away just a little bit.
Go ahead, partner. Put your Speedo on and jump in the river. Go right ahead.
But yeah, I did go swim with the sharks, and we had a great experience there, and a wonderful time, and they were all friendly, no bites, and a lot of great association and a good finish there.
A courageous man resides at 459 Overland in Burley. Meet the man that swims with sharks. Brent Lee at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, 459 Overland. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Good to visit with you, and we invite all of our customers to come in and see us.
Thanks, Brent. Take care.
You bet.
All right. Wonderful, wonderful people at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, the weather did change, and I'm kind of fighting a little raspiness in my voice, too. Say that, and then I choke because a fly almost took up residence in my tonsils. Hold on just a minute. Sorry about that. It is time, in just a moment, we're going to have the lovely Debbie Critchfield on our program for School Days in Cassia County. I got to take a drink of water. Hold on, folks. I tell you what, it hit me pretty hard right there. Before we have anybody else on the program this morning, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, of course, they offer rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call 678-0459. And don't forget, at Ramsey Heating and Electric, they can save you money. That's right. They sell warm winters and cool summers for over 53 years with Lennox. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Well, good morning to Debbie Critchfield. How are you?
I am doing well.
It is time for School Days in Cassia County, and you might have to do the whole program if I keep choking to death, Debbie.
That would be a disaster, so get gargling something.
I'm sorry, I'm going to grab a cough drop here in just a minute, but School Days in Cassia County brought to you by two wonderful businesses, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. And now, I'm going to let you carry the ball while I unwrap a delicious Hall's cough drop. Here's Debbie Critchfield.
Well, good morning. We appreciate these little segments that you've allowed us to come on every Thursday and promote and talk about great things that are happening around our school districts, because as you and I have discussed in the past, it's important for the patrons of the district to hear from our school district not only when we need money. And there's a lot of great things that parents can do to support things going in classrooms, and certainly schools are supporting families.
You know, you just said something that I'm very blunt on this program, as you know, and shoot from the hip. But, you know, that was a complaint that came out by many people. Well, you never say anything unless you want money. You never do anything, or we don't even know who you are unless you got your hand out for money. That's why Debbie and I talked about this segment on my program, School Days in Cassia County, so that everybody can be informed as to what's going on. Would you concur?
100%. And it is important that patrons and parents and families realize that schools are helping to support their student and great things that are happening in communities. And as you know, schools are such a heart of a town. And we want parents and our students to feel comfortable and feel welcome and open to what's going on in their own neighborhoods.
Debbie, would you say, now I know you follow education, and I know you look at other areas, other parts of the state, or perhaps the Northwest, or even the nation. Would you say that our parents here are more amenable to coming in and asking questions and supporting their children than perhaps in other areas?
I suspect that that is true, and my foundation for thinking that is that in our community where we know each other and we go to work together and we go to church together and community events together, we have a natural relationship that is built up perhaps in some other places where just the lifestyle and so forth doesn't lend itself to that kind of friendliness. And I would hope that parents feel like they can go in and visit with their teachers. You know, one thing that is so important is don't wait for parent-teacher conferences to visit with your teacher or the principal. Don't make that the first face-to-face opportunity that you have to discuss what's going on with your child and in that particular classroom. Email them. If you see them in the grocery store, our teachers are very open to parent involvement, and build that relationship right at the beginning of the school year so that your teacher knows you and knows that you care about what's going on in their classroom and that you're working together.
I would say, and of course some of the things I say now at my older age are not exactly how I acted at a younger age, but I would say that instead of developing a confrontational issue with a teacher or a superintendent or any school leader, ask the questions, defray things before they get blown completely out of proportion.
Isn't that a principle that works in every aspect of life?
Yeah, but it took me a long time to learn it, my dear.
Well, it's true. That is a great way to put that you want to have something built up that when you go and do visit with your teacher, and if there is an incident or something that's going on in your child's grade is slipping, don't wait until it slips. Visit with your child. What's going on? I think communication with your students is very important. Follow up with the teacher. If your child says, this or that, don't get angry about it or question it or, well, that doesn't seem right. Make a phone call. Send an email. Like I say, when you see someone, visit with them. And we're trying to build some great relationships with our parents and our school people.
What about the Cassia School District as compared to other school districts in the state, the Northwest, etc.? How do you size up and compare?
Well, of course I'm going to say that I think we're great. As far as what? Relative to what?
I think when you look at academics, when you look at sports, when you look at maintenance, when you look at the overall structure of the schools, the teachers and everything else, you've got a lot to be proud of in Cassia County.
I agree with that. Again, especially as I go to Boise and attend different conferences and visit another school districts, Cassia County's reputation around the state is high. People think well of it. We're innovative. We are on the forefront of things. We're always willing to pilot different programs. Is this something that's going to benefit our students? Is this going to help our students be able to graduate at higher rates? Is this going to make them more productive as citizens? Our teachers work well beyond their contracted hours, and our principals wear the hats that they have to wear these days. It's not what it used to be. Schools, it's different. The culture is different, and our people rise to the occasion, and they're doing a good job.
Is there anything else you want to highlight this morning, Debbie? You've got the bully pulpit, so go ahead.
I do. I even made myself a little cheat sheet so that I wouldn't forget. I want to make a plug for attendance. I didn't realize this until I was in a position to know this, but attendance in the first 10 weeks is so critical to every school district. The average daily attendance, that very first 10 weeks of school, those numbers that we send to the state of Idaho, they look at those and they say, okay, this is about how many kids on average you have coming into your classrooms every day. And from that, the formula determines how much money we get to provide for our students during the year. So that is critical, that we make sure that we have our students in the seats. All of the schools, most of the schools are sending home some kind of a newsletter. If you're not getting some kind of communication from your child's school, make a phone call. Hey, maybe I'm missing some things, whether it's an email or something in paper. And a couple other things district-wide. Of course, we've got our website that folks can access at CassiaSchools.org. It's a pretty easy one, CassiaSchools.org. From there are links to a Facebook page. That is something new within the last few months. And also something that is new within the last couple of weeks is a district blog. Lots of information coming out of 17 buildings, and we just needed somewhere else to put some of the day-to-day things and information that we'd want parents around the district to know. So those things can be accessed from the website. So a couple of examples of some ways that we're trying to bring the community in.
Absolutely. Debbie Critchfield, I thank you for being a part of the program. You are an excellent spokesperson for education and what's going on in Cache County. Thanks for being on the program.
Appreciate you and appreciate this opportunity.
You're very welcome. School Days in Cache County, brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. Go to achildsworldinburley.com and check out the website. And don't forget, too, they've got all the Cherokee and Dickie scrubs, all the shoes, all the children's and infants' clothing. They've got all the games, the toys, the books, the arts and crafts, everything for the family. Enjoy it. It's a great, great store, a family store. A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Along with Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley for over 14 years. The Ambulatory Surgery Center of Burley has saved area families thousands and thousands of dollars as they've received outstanding medical care. This is a first-class medical facility located at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Just call 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World bring you on Zebeth Ranch School Days in Cache County. Nice lady, Debbie Critchfield. Thank you for being on the program this morning. Talking about nice people on my program, I've got to mention, too, Nathan Harris Plumbing NG. Wow, this guy is so sharp about drips, leaks, clogs, main water line repair, water heaters, softeners. What a plumber. I learned a lot from this guy the last time he was over here fixing. That's right, one call fixes it all. 431-8633. 431-8633, specializing in water line replacement, and he has a nice program for senior citizen discounts. So give him a call, 431-8633, Harris Plumbing NG, for all your plumbing service needs. And by the way, too, if you get hungry this afternoon or later on towards evening, I know a place you better go to, and that is the Drift Inn at 545 F Street in Rupert. Listen, on Thursdays, Chef Dave Haley is cooking up a home-cooked meal. I'm telling you, he starts at 5 o'clock, and you can hear the pots and the pans rattling, all the big spoons and everything. He's making a meal just like Mom used to make, and they also have live music on Thursday evenings. Don't forget the Drift Inn. What wonderful food, great people. You're going to love it. Dinner start at 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday with nightly specials at the Drift Inn on the Square in Rupert. Really good, folks. Gina Jameson, how are you doing over at the station today?
I am doing well. I'm hungry, though.
You know, you and me both. I really blew my diet yesterday. I'm telling you, on a birthday, a person should not be allowed to have a fork, a spoon, and an open mouth.
Why not? I think that's what the birthday is all about.
Because I filled every one of them.
Well, you know, now you can get back on track.
Yeah, maybe. But anyhow, I had a wonderful birthday yesterday. So many nice people and so many nice presents and cards, some of the cards of which we can't mention on the air.
Yeah.
And Larry Hudig, you're sick. I had to say that.
The cards are some of the best.
Oh, yeah, I love them. I save them.
Do ya?
Of course, if you've been in this office,
I save everything.
I think I saved everything.
Yeah, I saw the wide cam shot of your office yesterday.
Yeah.
Get yourself a dumpster from Pacific Steel and Recycling.
Now, I take that with great personal offense, and it brings a tear to my eye because when you look at the wide spot of the camera on this, you're seeing some of the wonderful history of pictures and people that I've worked with. The Bellamy brothers. Pardon me?
I'm talking about the desk.
I can't fix that.
You can't?
It's beyond repair.
Because I saw all of these stacks of papers and just everything in disarray.
Yeah, but I got a filing system, my dear. I have a filing system. I have a pile here for... What the heck is this pile for? Hold on just a second. Oh, here's a pile for EPA and their silliness. Over here we have a file for Obamacare. Over there we have a file for the shutdown. Over here we have a file for public service announcements.
Or just piles.
Are you knocking my system?
Yeah, actually I am.
How would you do it then?
Actually, well, see, I'm computer literate, and so I would have everything online, so it reduces the paper clutter. However, don't get me wrong, I love clutter, and so I would also keep a notebook.
I feel comfortable when I pull myself into this chair. It's like sliding into the cockpit of a 747. I am the master of disaster. I am at the controls. I feel comfortable in my domain.
And I'm sure Deanna's sitting there shaking her head in agreement and then shaking her head in disgust.
Well, my wife has reached a point where she won't come in the office without putting breadcrumbs on the floor so she can find her way out again.
Yeah.
And then the dog ate them and she got stranded the other day.
I think in the 3 years since I've been back, I've seen your desk clean once.
Now, I'm really offended.
You're probably going to be taking offense to that.
I'm really offended by that because I'm personally going to make it a vendetta this weekend to try to find at least, 36 to 42 hours to try to clean that desk off.
Is there a desktop underneath all of that? And do you know what the desktop looks like?
No, but I was really deeply saddened that I found a bunch of death and misery on that desk the other day, and a portion of the desk that I haven't looked at for a long time. Some of last year's flies are still there.
Ew.
I'm going to clean it off. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's get on to the topic of flies. I know, because I've been hearing you thwack, and so yesterday...
Does that come across when I do that?
Sometimes, yes, it does.
I mean, like if I go like...
Yes.
You heard that.
Yeah, and actually, yesterday it was kind of funny. I think you were on the phone with Doug Johnson, and I could hear in the background. I mean, Doug will be talking away, and I can hear this thwack.
I was on a roll yesterday. I had, and for those of you that like to walk around with a fly swatter and end those vermin's life, I had a roll of 9 straight with no misses. I was really cooking, and then all of a sudden I really fell apart.
You lost your streak?
I lost my streak. Those pesky deals, I still maintain, and I want to study on this. I'm going to look it up on the website. I still maintain that when flies are on a table, if you come up behind them, they will 99% of the time fly to the right instead of try to escape to the left.
Yes. And it's all, some of them are a little bit different, but usually I swipe from right to left.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you imagine?
And by the way, I got an email from a listener, and apparently you and I are wrong on our football. Boise State has a bye week this week.
They do?
Utah State is playing BYU tomorrow night. And, of course, Idaho is playing Fresno, not the UW. And BSU will be at USU coming up on the 12th.
Now, here's my calendar, and you're 100% right. And to whoever emailed you, kudos to you for embarrassing us. But on my calendar, it goes right from, seriously, and I'll hold this up to the camera so you can see it, it goes right from September 28th to Saturday, October 12th. So you don't see a bye in there. It just goes ahead and gives the next weekend. So I'm faulting a calendar maker that should have at least notified me that there was going to be a bye.
Well, at least, or put in, on that calendar. Bye week, so we know, and so we don't make faux pas.
Well, in your case, it doesn't make any difference if it's Fresno State or if it's U of W. You're in trouble, gal.
We're going to lose anyway. And so, as long as I am true to my team, which I am, I will continue to root for the Vandals.
No, I appreciate that.
About it all.
I appreciate that. And I got to say this about the Vandals. Honestly, and I said this to you sincerely last Monday, they look pretty doggone sharp on some of their offense against Temple.
We just need to beef up our defense.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, giving up 197 points a game is not good.
No, it's not.
I'm going to take a break right now for needless to say what I need to do, and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We have more. An attorney from Los Angeles, really good friend of ours, James Herson, is going to discuss this mucky mess in Hollywood with Obamacare, everything else, so don't go away. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, Now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you. We're going to change things a little bit. And Gina, if you're right by your microphone, because of the fact I have a very dear friend coming on the program, James Herson, we're going to go ahead with our weather forecast now so we don't have to interrupt him. And weather this hour, thank you, Gina, will be brought to everybody at Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, or heat pumps right through our dear friends Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. And now here is the number one weatherman in the world, MichaelRogersWeather.com.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Let me break it down for you in plain English. I know you're going to understand this, okay? It's going to be wet today. So the bottom line is, you stay at the bottom of the hill in Murtaugh, you're going to see rain. You zip up 93 to Shoshone, and might see some snow. Otherwise, it's going to be a wet day today. Taper off tonight, have a sunny day tomorrow. Look for a high today right around 51 degrees. Enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. Tell me whether you got it.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps, all at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. You call them today, 678-0459. Ladies and gentlemen, I put a lot of stock and a lot of faith and a lot of truth is to be had from this man that's been on our program many, many times, and he is attorney and author and talk show host. Man, he's done it all, been there, done that. Good morning, James Herson. How are you?
How are you, Zeb? Good to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you back on the air, and there's so many things I want to ask you about, but first and foremost, I'd like to ask you about, is the tide turning? Is there a little bit of a, maybe we don't like this guy as much as we thought we did, attitude in Hollywood against Barack Hussein Obama?
Well, it should be. I mean, especially today when we've seen an unprecedented act where the President of the United States brought his politics into the world markets, telling them they should be concerned over something that really is an internal political routine placed in our system by the Founding Fathers. So Hollywood should be turning, but unfortunately, the real power in Hollywood is just close-minded when it comes to political truth. And just recently we had Jeffrey Katzenberg raise $1 million to defeat Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. So Hollywood's interfering with the politics of Kentucky. But with this language that the media is using and the ratcheting up of the rhetoric with the so-called shutdown, you would think it never happened before, but it's happened 18 times. And it spans both Republican and Democrat administrations, and it was done by both Congress and the President. The President can have a partial or full shutdown through a veto of the budget bill, which has been done routinely. And the reason it's there is because of a doctrine, a legal doctrine that's in our system called separation of powers, where the power of the purse was given to Congress, and the power of the veto is given to the President. And then that was, it's messy, but that was this notion of checks and balances. And it's just, it's tragic to see the media incorporating propaganda rhetoric in order to help an administration that is really causing the problem by refusing to negotiate.
James, I kind of look at Hollywood from, of course, I'm looking at it from southern Idaho, but I do have many close ties to Hollywood stars and movies. They've been on my program, and I've been in quite a few different films myself. But when I look at the situation with Hollywood and the attitude of all the liberalness that's going on and the complete backing of Obama, almost to the point where he's the Pied Piper and can lead them into the water like they're rats, aren't they going to be affected with Obamacare to the point where we're looking at people that might be on the lighting crews, the microphone crews, all aspects of Hollywood and filmmaking are going to be subjected to Obamacare, and aren't they going to someday just wake up and say, whoa, this isn't what we thought it is?
Well, but then there's the problem of the Hollywood hypocrisy. I mean, yeah, the guys and gals who work the crews, who are in the unions, who do, the technical work and what's called in Hollywood below-the-line work, they're all going to be affected. As a matter of fact, the union leaders are turning against Obamacare as they see the reality of the quality of health care for working people and middle-class people basically being denigrated because it has to be based on just pure mathematics, pure arithmetic. It has to be. And so if Obamacare is implemented, everyone who normally is not part. It's kind of ironic because I'm using the language of Occupy Wall Street. But if you're not wealthy enough to opt out, pay the fee, and join a concierge medical plan, you're going to suffer, and that includes everyone in the United States. And the Democrats seem to know this, and many of them, like Max Baucus, called it a train wreck and kind of got out of the way. But it seems as though what they're doing is playing a propaganda blame game where any problems that occur in the future, they want to use the Republicans and Ted Cruz mainly as a scapegoat. But yeah, the rank and file in Hollywood are going to feel it, and many of them whisper about this president. But the power in Hollywood, the people that have the money, the people who say you can't have firearms, but we have armed bodyguards. They say you can't drive big cars, but we can fly in private jets. They say you've got to have Obamacare, but we'll find a way around it. They'll either go, as many have, to foreign nations and get their health care, or they'll have, I call it, it's what many elite medical groups are doing, they call it concierge services, where the people that can afford it pay a large fee and get first-class service and pay for it directly. They don't use insurance. And that's what's going to happen with the elite in Hollywood, and they're going to just be very happy with Obamacare because they won't be in it, just like Congress, just like all of the carve-outs the president has made. So we will have a two-tier health care program, one for the elite and another one for the rest of us.
Let me ask you this, James, in your area and where you live and the people that surround you, are you surprised, or did you say, yep, I told you so, as to the glitches that are occurring for people trying to sign up? It seems like it's a total train wreck.
I think that the extent of the train wreck, the depth of the problems with the technology is surprising to me, only because they had 3 years to set it up, and it just shows just a terrible harbinger of what Obamacare will be, because everything is political. These navigators that are helping people sign up are political organizations like Acorn and Planned Parenthood, and healthcare is going to be totally politicized. There's already rules in Obamacare. When you go to visit your doctor, they ask you questions about whether or not you own firearms, whether or not you have a certain frequency of intimate relations with your wife or others, with your spouse or others. I mean, it's the depth of the problems is what's shocking. Anybody that understands, for example, web technology, when you have the kind of technological breakdown that they've had in this rollout, to unravel that breakdown takes a long time. And, it's questionable whether they're going to be able to run efficiently even when 2014 begins. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's shocking to see the ineptitude, the level of ineptitude that this is bringing. And it just means, when you deal with, here in California we call it the Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, or in some cases a busy post office, that's what you can expect when you go to see your doctor.
You know, it's so interesting. You touched on another point I was going to bring up to you, because on Tuesday, October 1st, in the USA Today, they had a cover headline on the third page that says, Health and Human Services puts final touches on website. Good Lord, James, that's on October 1st, the day that it's all implemented, and they're putting the final touches on it. They had 3 years to put the final touches on it.
Yeah, and it just shows the way that they spend our money. You know, they hired outside people to do that, and the country is filled with talented web technologists who could help. But as you know, it's patronage oriented, and the buddies of the administration get overpaid for doing bad work, and that's what happened here. And then they run out, and I mean, the level of the spin and propaganda and lies is just amazing. To hear all these people say, well, isn't it a great sign? So many people went on the website that they caused these technical problems. Well, you know, they had 3 years to anticipate the level of traffic. That's a ridiculous spin. It's obviously not set up right, and all the states have different exchanges. And for example, people who normally would have been covered if they travel to another state now will not be covered if they leave the state. Mm-hmm. So if they have an accident while they're visiting another state, I don't know what they're going to do. It'd be helicoptered back into their home state. The problems are myriad, and it's, you know, Max Baucus, Democrat, is right. It's a train wreck, and the problem with it is it's going to denigrate and maybe even destroy what was a great healthcare system. And even if we want to get it back, it would take a long time. I mean, here in Los Angeles County, which has tens of millions of people, one of the exchanges released a network of doctors that consisted of 2,300 doctors in total that is on this exchange for the insured. Now, that means that when people need a doctor, they'll be making an appointment now for 2015. So that means that healthcare, in essence, routine healthcare, will not exist.
Absolutely.
For most people. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to see doctors go out of business. We're going to see facilities go out of business. We have an attack on healthcare that is run by religious organizations. They're being forced out of business. And insurance businesses are not going to be able to run viably under this system without tremendously cutting costs, which is why these exchanges have such a small number of doctors. The whole business of insurance is, I'm going to take your risk on for a fee. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to take your risk on for a fee, how do I price taking on the risk without assessing the risk? And Obamacare says, well, you can't assess the risk, and you got to do these prices, and so therefore they're going to cut elsewhere or go out of business. In many states, insurance companies have just said, we're out, we quit. And many on the Democrat side love this because they wanted a single-payer system to begin with, so they love to see insurance companies go out of business, and the idea that eventually the government will run the whole system.
Yeah, absolutely, with a single-payer unit. I want to shift gears a little bit, if I can, and have you discuss Christianity is not dead in its entirety coming out of Hollywood, especially when we look at the likes and the namesake of Kirk Cameron and what he's trying to do as a Christian filmmaker. I'd like you to elaborate on that story that you and your staff wrote about the movie Unstoppable.
Yeah, no, Unstoppable, first of all, Kirk Cameron. Kirk Cameron, we know him as a child star, really, a teen star, Mike Seaver on Growing Pains, this hit sitcom. And he's been in, he found his faith, he found his Christianity in his teens on this show, and he went on to stick with it and do only sort of faith-based product, beginning with the Left Behind series. Then a few years ago, he really caused a kind of an economic earthquake in Hollywood because executives look at ratios like this. He made a film called Fireproof a couple of years ago, and it cost $500,000 to make, and it brought in more than $33 million, and that caused, heads to spin. And what he's done with this Unstoppable movie, which is a documentary which he wrote, he's really taken, he says it's his most personal project he's ever done. And it's a documentary what Christians call apologetics. He's taking on the toughest questions people ask. Toughest question that folks ask when they say they're an agnostic or they're an atheist and they're looking at Christianity. And they say, hey, look, how can you guys talk about this loving God in a world where people have pain and suffering? I look around me, I see pain and suffering. And his whole movie deals with that question. It doesn't sound like a commercial movie. And this type of movie, because it's a niche movie, normally would be either direct to DVD or on demand, or it would come out in a couple of theaters and test the market in a normal film release. But what Kirk Cameron did is very innovative. He treated it kind of like a pay-per-view sports event. And he picked 700 theaters across the country and had a one-night event with a live feed. He introduced the film himself at a live event, a broadcast by satellite into these 700 screens, and sold 150,000 tickets, took in $2 million. Now, to give you a comparison, a big studio film, Prisoners, which has big stars, Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, in the same night took in $2.2 million on 3,200 movie screens compared to Kirk Cameron's 700.
Oh, my.
So he's going to have, as a matter of fact, another showing this evening in theaters across the country. Unstoppable, the name of the movie. People can look it up, online and see if it's in their area. I'm sure it's going to take in a similar amount or more, and then they'll go to DVD. And this is going to be another massive economic success. And this guy is doing this as he essentially, communicates an evangelical Christian worldview. And I guess the folks in Hollywood have to admit it's kind of a miracle.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. James, I believe that we have a caller on the air with a question. Let me check with my engineer. Gina, is he still there?
Yes, we do.
Okay, caller, quickly. I've only got 2 minutes left.
Okay, I was just wondering if there's any security requirements for the people who are administrating the Obama health care. Thank you.
James, did you hear the question? Please respond.
If there were security requirements?
Yeah, any security requirements for the people that are administering Obamacare?
I'm just, you see, whether they get security clearance?
Right, I believe so, yes.
The question, I would say, obviously, if you've got people from Acorn navigating, they call it navigating, I would be very doubtful that there's any kind of security clearance. And I think what the caller's referring to is the fact that all this personal data is going to be handled by these folks. And it's a place where they could get into identity theft and things like that. So I'm very concerned about it, and I think we're going to see problems with that because these navigators, if they get a hold of the data, or we've seen the way agencies can be politicized under this administration and utilize data. They seem to want all kinds of data for purposes that don't seem to be in the best interest of taxpayers.
James, I have one final thought. I've only got a minute and a half left, but this movie Unstoppable with Kirk Cameron, it seems like they being YouTube and also Facebook, etc., a lot to try to stymie the popularity of this film already, have they not?
Yeah, no, it appears that way. I mean, there was even Kirk Cameron had to go out and get it reinstated. It looked like they were censoring it, Facebook and YouTube particularly. But it only helped the film. It turned out to be something that created more buzz, and Kirk Cameron used it very deftly, very intelligently. And so it ended up, it seems like they put obstacles in front of this guy, and he just knocks them down. And being a child star, we look at Hollywood. Look what happens to child stars in Hollywood. They end up on a path of drugs and destruction. And here's Kirk Cameron, and the difference has to be
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always, and I mean this not as a gratuity, I'm just being very forthright, you're just one of the best guests on this program, Newsmax Hollywood reporter and legal analyst James Herson. My friend, thank you so much for all the information, and I'll be in touch with you in the not-too-distant future. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeb. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Always enjoy James Herson on our program. Great insight as to what's going on in Hollywood with the different political aspects now, talking about Obamacare this morning, and also that Christian film, Unstoppable, put out by Kirk Cameron. It is time. Gina, are you over there by the microphone?
Yep.
I need a drum roll and maybe a hallelujah or two.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
That's good. You're really on the spot. We are going to have a drawing right now, and we haven't, I need this paper right here, my dear. We have, the first drawing is going to be regarding a beautiful, I've got to get the paperwork right here. I had it in my hands, and now do you suppose I can find it on this desk? Can you imagine I can't find it?
Go figure.
I didn't need to hear that in a kind of a condescending type remark. I found it, and I'm going to just simply say, at 66 years of age, nah. We have an original painting with a beautiful bronze frame entitled Fall Harvest. This is a beautiful, beautiful painting that's been supplied to us by our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Brent Lee at 459 Overland in Burley. And we are every week on Thursday through the month of October going to give away a special gift to people that have signed up and are receiving cow pies and coffee cups. I can't even say cups this morning. Cow pies and coffee cups. My web and my weekly newsletter. All you have to do is go to zebbell.com and then put your address on there, and we'll start getting it to you via the computer, or send it to us, zebattheranch@hotmail.com. Now, I need the arm of the law over here. Deanne, please, you are going to reach in and on camera, hold it right over here on this camera so everybody can see your beautiful hand right there. Dig in. And she's going to give us the winner of our first prize for cow pies and coffee cups. And the winner is, drum roll again, please. The winner is Kermit Hickman. And we will get the address and the telephone number for Kermit. If you're listening out there this morning, you're the lucky winner. And give us a call at 312-2976, and we'll make arrangements to get this beautiful bronze frame, and it's worth over $399, entitled Fall Harvest from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. So there we have our first winner, and we say congratulations to Kermit Hickman. You are now the proud owner of a beautiful, beautiful painting called Fall Harvest. There you have it, Gina. We found the paper, and everything's well. Thank you. Now, next week on the program, we are going to be giving away a plethora of goodies. Are you ready for this?
I am.
We have a complete light bulb package set from Ramsey Heating and Electric. We have two, not one, but two steak knives made exclusively for Zeb at the Ranch. Have you seen those? All right. Have you got your camera on or your video unit on?
No, I do not.
I was going to hold it up right here at the camera. Hold on just a second. And they are engraved with, on the handle, Zeb at the Ranch. And I'm going to hold it up by the camera right now. Whoop, not too close, Zeb. Back it up. There you go. Now move it over to the right a little bit. There. No, that's off camera, you dipstick. There. Beautiful steak knives. And two wonderfully handmade pens from a pen set for both a male and a female. That's all the package for next week to win, and all you have to do is just quickly send your name and your email address to zebattheranch@hotmail.com to be eligible for our drawing. Okay?
No, actually, that's a nice looking knife.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
It is. I've had all of these made by Mad River Laser, and they're excellent knives, steak knives, and they're a man-sized knife. They're not the little puny ones. They're the man-sized knives with Zeb at the Ranch on the handles, and that's all part of a package for next week.
Did you send one of those to Mr. Frosty? Was it something similar?
I did. And you know, Frosty is a vegetarian, and it was a rather humorous situation.
Yes.
I loved it. I said, cut your veggies, dude.
Yeah, his tofurkey that we know he is going to have at Thanksgiving.
Have you ever had tofurkey?
No, and I never plan on it.
Let me tell you something. If you invite us over for dinner with that, don't expect that chair to be filled at the table.
I will always have a prime rib or a ribeye.
I love you. Thank you. I've got to tell everybody real quick about our friends at, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Serving is the key word. They got a big tire sale going on right now. Big tire sale. All the tires, all the different tread designs, everything for your safe driving. So stop in and see them today. Don't forget, too, passenger car tires, light truck and SUV tires, all the tires you need for safe driving. And, of course, the best in brake service. And I really mean that, the best in brake service available through all 7 locations. With Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. By the way, Gina, I want to just say that due to the fact that you hurt my feelings earlier and put me in a state of, gee whiz, I'm sorry, I am definitely going to take some time tomorrow morning to get up earlier than normal on my day off and come in here and start a renovation program for my desk and my table that I conduct the program from. But I just want to leave you with these final thoughts.
Yes.
Don't expect too much, lady.
Oh, hey, I just want to see the desk. I just want to see the top of the desk.
I promise you will be able to see the top of the desk. I'm going to arrange the cameras so you can see the top of the desk.
Yes, I want the wide two-person camera shot that you had from the other end of the room. I want to see that so I can see, that you've made progress.
Don't push your luck.
I know.
Okay, God bless. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Zeb at the Ranch. See you Monday at 8:06. The way things were, the way things ought to be. See you then.